We go. Welcome to another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files. And tonight we're here for a very special episode, and we have death metal legends. I call them death metal legend. One of my favorite death metal bands of all time, the mighty Immolation, are here in the room with us. And welcome everyone.
What's up, everybody?
Tough episode.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
It was an extremely tough episode for me to pick. Like John said, pick your favorite albums. It's like, how do you pick favorite albums from a band that every album is great? It's very tough to pick. As we've done this episode with a lot of bands we're passionate about, it's almost like picking, if you have a bunch of kids, what children do you feed? What ones do you start?
I mean, last time you did an Iron Maiden show and asked us to pick what songs we like the best. It's like,
my God,
holy crap!
It's like an endless list. Yeah, crazy.
Well,
It's like what 90 songs do I like?
But, from the start of the band.
So I went with albums. It's easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So from the start of the band with 1991's Dawn of Possession to the latest, The Atonement, I think there's no bad or weak albums. And I believe, it says a lot about the band to me that you guys are being still so fresh after a long career, delivering one strong album after another. Nothing disappoints. And of course, your band celebrates some milestones this year. And that was one of the reasons I told John, so let's do something with Immolation, because it's the 30th anniversary of Dawn of Possession. And it's also the 25th anniversary of the 1996 Here and After. So
we become the anniversary band.
Dawn has come.
We'll do the dawn of the anniversary waltz of death metal tonight. So we'll start off and let everybody introduce themselves, and we'll get rocking and rolling here. Death metal.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know what order we're at, but I'll go first. I'm John. Hey, what's up?
Hey, John. How you doing? I'm Bob.
I'm Ross.
And
I'm Steve.
Alex.
I'm Zella. I'm Steve number 2.
Steve, also one of my employees that's helped run Rock Fantasy over the years. And welcome everybody to the show. I guess who wants to start off? John, ask some questions or rock and do what you got to do, brother.
Okay, well, first for me, it's super awesome to do a show on Immolation. Obviously, we've known each other for so long. I mean, I think, we played the first show with you guys. First show was Immolation.
Yep.
And I even knew the band back when you guys were doing Rigor Mortis, when Tom and Bob were doing Rigor Mortis, and Zach and stuff. So it's pretty crazy, but it's just, to me, it's just a band. I just knew first time I heard you guys play, it just, something was special about it to me. And it was really inspiring to see a local band in our area that was kind of doing what I consider just like, real pure death metal at that time. Cause there's just, there was a lot of great thrash bands and great like pseudo death metal bands in the area. But when I first heard like those, songs like Immolation and stuff, it was just like hearing that heavy guitar. It was just, totally in my pocket as far as what I was into and stuff. And it's just been great because your career has just been phenomenal. I mean, so many great albums. I mean, I was going through the discography to try to, pick, top 3 favorites. And I don't really have a top 3 favorite because you just listen to it and the songwriting quality is just so kick ass. I mean, and, of course, an album like Dawn of Possession means so much because, I was, really close to the band at the time, right? And especially those songs and stuff, we were all really hanging out a lot. And, those songs hold a special place in my heart. It's like kind of like, it's one of the DNAs of, that new generation of death metal and stuff. So, and it just, to be able to be here 30 years after Dawn of Possession came out, which is a huge milestone, is insane.
Oh, it's insane that, I mean, we're all here 30 years.
I know.
This,
I can't even
crazy.
fathom it. Like when you put it in those terms, it's like so bizarro. Like, I remember those times so vividly because you're right. That was kind of like that transition from like, thrash into more extreme, darker, heavier stuff. And we were all there. So when we met you guys back then, you guys pretty much hooked up that first show for us out of Blondie's and Nyack. Remember?
I was just there like last week.
Yeah, he was just there.
And I think that was the first time I was there since the first show. And I was like, oh my God. I was trying to find the place and I think I found it. It's under a different name now, but it was so surreal to be like, wow, we were here like over 30 years ago, playing our first show with Revenant, and
And I think you guys even let us borrow your gear because we had some fail with our rehearsal space. Like the day of the show, like they were closed and we couldn't, like we had a monthly rental place and we couldn't get in the space, remember? So we went out there and I think one of you guys were in touch with our old drummer, Neil, right?
Yeah, I got to tell that story about Neil. I remember when I called up you guys, I mean, because I think Neil's name was I don't know if I had the rehearsal demo. I can't remember.
I think it was in the demo.
He had his name on the ad, one of the first ads.
Yeah, something like that. And I go to call him up and I was like, yeah, hey, what's up? I'm John from Revenant, let's book this show. I want to do this show. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm really psyched for this. And he was just like, yeah. and I'd be talking. I'd be like, yeah, it's going to be really cool. I think we were supposed to have Blood Feast on it or a Hodgepodge. I can't remember what band, but anyway, it was just like, and he'd be like, okay. And I'd be like, so you guys are into doing it? He's like, yeah. And I was just like thinking to myself, wow, these guys sure have a personality.
You're like, don't sound so enthusiastic.
Yeah, so I was a little bit concerned at first, because it was just like, I don't know if they're really that into it, but it seemed to be cool. But then once I met you guys and at the show, it was like it all just fell together. But
we made up for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so funny because at first I remember telling Henry, I was just like, this dude's not so talkative,
It's like he was better when you met him in person.
The Iceman.
Yeah, exactly. But
he was very quiet. You got to know him later on, and you know how he was. He was kind of shy. He was kind of introverted in a lot of ways. So that's how he was.
Yeah, and once we got to be friends, everything it opened up, and it was really cool. It was just that icebreaker. But I was like super psyched, like, oh, cool, is this killer band? I want to do a show with them, and it was just like, wah 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 on the phone. I was just like, but anyway, yes, I had to tell it's a story because it's just so funny. I think.
Yeah, and that was our very first show. It was Revenant, Ripping Corpse,
Deranged,
and us. Deranged, everything and us. Yeah.
Was that
Deranged? Now, which Deranged was that? Not the Deranged from up here, right?
Jersey band.
Yeah, they're from Jersey. They're from Clifton, New Jersey.
There was a Deranged here in Middletown with Antonio Ballatore that's been on the show, which is a thrash band, and they used to play a lot of gigs like Poughkeepsie, and they did play some down in Nyack. I think they actually warmed up Alice in Chains down there.
Yeah, but there was a bunch of
a lot of deranged
There's a lot of deranged bands out there. But that Deranged was actually really another really killer band from our area at that time. It's just that they didn't have too long of a history. But at the time, like Revenant and Deranged were doing a lot of shows together and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, you guys are more northern, and Ripping Corpse had Southern Jersey on lockdown.
Absolutely.
They were like, that was their scene totally.
Yeah, they owned it down there for sure.
No doubt, man. Like anytime you went to Ripping Corpse, Joe, it was like 300 plus kids. Always, we were like, wow, man, this is awesome.
I guess I have a question for everybody before we start dwelling just on the old days. What's going on in 2021? Are you guys working on a new album?
Yeah. We've been busy behind the scenes. We've made use of the downtime. Bob's written like 12 songs already for the new record. So we've all been kind of rehearsing that and, learning those songs. So we're almost ready to go to record the new record. We just re-signed a deal with Nuclear Blast. So we're going to stay with them for the next couple of records. So we're totally excited about that because, we've been on a lot of really great labels over the years, and I think Nuclear Blast was the one we needed to be on. They once we got on Nuclear Blast, it felt like, this is where we belong. So it was like nice for us to re-sign with them because they really care about the band, they're fans, and we have a really good rapport with them. So that was nice. So, all positive stuff. We had actually planned on 2020 being a down year for us because we had just done a lot of touring for Atonement, like 3 years of Atonement almost. So.
Sure.
Of course, it became more of a down year than we anticipated for everybody.
Yeah.
So, things got a little bit more delayed.
I mean, even this year looks like it could be another down
year.
Well, starting out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, we got to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't, Alex and Steve, we haven't seen them for over a year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're just going to be, for New York State, as of April 1st, we're going to be able to leave the state without having to do all this crazy testing and everything. So
Okay.
they've lifted the restrictions.
Maybe,
So
for our
we
viewers.
can actually start rehearsing soon.
Yeah. That's been
So for our viewers that are watching the show, where is everybody tonight? I know Alex is down in Maryland, right?
Delaware.
Delaware.
Delaware, that's right. And Steve, where are you at?
I'm in Ohio.
Okay, cool. I think Robin came to visit you a week or two ago, didn't she?
You sure did, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I heard about that. Killer.
The honor of,
Robin's off to the Dakotas this week, so she couldn't.
Yeah,
join
Robin's
in,
from
so-
Florida. She can go anywhere she wants, you know?
Yeah.
Robin is legend.
Oh, totally.
And Ross, where are you guys at tonight?
Bob actually came up here for the weekend. I'm in
Okay.
Rochester, New
Yeah,
York.
that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
I know you. I wasn't surprised to see you both in the same rooms. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just got up here today.
Yeah.
We're actually Dan Liliker and his wife Heather are, it's their 20th wedding anniversary, so we're gonna have just a kind of little weekend get together with them to celebrate that.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Because they both live up here and we're real tight. with
Okay.
them. And my girl is best friends with Danny's wife Heather. So big shout out to Danny and Heather, the Lilikers. Happy 20th,
Yep,
guys.
20th.
Yeah.
The anniversary.
Thrash legend.
Thrash legend.
Thrash legend. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I can add about Ross and Steve, and of course Alex, and these guys always supported every show. Like going back to the 2000s when I used to go to New York City at BB King's and any kind of extreme metal show that would come into town, you would always see these guys hanging out at the bar or just supporting the bands, coming to see the bands, and I thought that was just something special that you guys just stayed really a part of that.
Well, same with you, Steve. You'd come down from upstate to all the New York City shows. That was
wasn't
no
that far, like an hour, but I mean, you guys
Yeah.
both lived in that area then, but it was just great because not all the bands from the New York area would come out and support other bands. I always thought that was great, and of course, you guys, would meet. Fans would come up and take pictures. You had no problem with it. No, that's what it was.
you know how we are,
I thought
Steve.
it
We're-
was super. It was super cool for you guys to be, supporting everything back then. So I wanted to mention that for this episode.
Yeah, no, Ross and Bob are fine. As long as you pay them, they'll take a photo with you, no problem.
$5.
One person.
Well, I was at like a show seeing Vader. I think it was at Webster Hall, and it was in like the middle room. I think it might have.
Yeah.
It was a Vader, and then that was just when Alex first joined the band, and I think I took a picture with you guys, and there was the three of you with me, and everybody's like, "What's Steve, the new member of Immolation?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." I just took a picture because every time I see him, I'm like taking a picture.
Yeah, that was the last show of that tour with Vader and Internal Bleeding.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really good show. I don't think I've ever seen a show in that middle room. So that was.
I saw,
cool.
I saw Crisian and Destruction in that room, maybe around that same
must be
time period, maybe a year before that. But yeah, I hadn't seen many shows in that middle room either.
Nah. It's usually back in the day, the big room used to be the Ritz. Remember the old Ritz?
Yeah,
John, you
yeah.
remember
Hell
that?
yeah.
And that was like, when you were doing that Venom Inc. interview, man, I wanted to chime in so many times, like, oh man, because I went to that show in '86 when they played at Ritz, and it was them and Overkill and Carnivore. They did 2 nights. The first night, that was the lineup for that night. And that was right before Possessed came out, because they were selling like demo tapes of the Possessed album with just like like 30 seconds of a couple of songs or whatever. So it was like kind of cool. And I went with Will for Mortician, and we were like the hugest Venom fans. That's why it was so cool to watch that, to see like how cool they were, And we went to that show, and we were like first online. We got down there early that day, and Will and I were like the first 2 guys in, and we were like the first guys at the merch booth. And I'll never forget this. Will goes up to the merch booth, and he's standing there, and the guy's like, "Yeah, what can I get you?" And Will's like, I want one of everything in medium or whatever. And the guy's like, "One of everything?" He's like, "Yeah, one of everything." He's like, including the tour book and he's like, everything. And then I came up behind him like, "Same for me, one of everything."
The guy was like, he was like, "It's gonna be a good night."
He's like, "Cool, I can go home now. We're closed." But yeah, I mean, and that was. that was just so epic for me. So, you know,
Yeah.
just to see that interview was really cool, you know, and then, yeah, it was just awesome, man. Venom was a big part of like, you know, why I'm here today, you know?
A couple of the memorable shows I remember seeing you guys. I'm just thinking in my head. And now we mentioned New York City. You remember you guys played in that Death in the Forest gig that was supposed to be up here at the
Yeah.
fairgrounds, and they
Yeah,
kept
got
moving,
re,
every day they'd move it from another spot
Yes.
to another spot, and then we
Yeah.
ended up playing some weird bar. In New
Yeah,
York City, it
in
was like 2
Manhattan.
floor. I think it was like some kind of like, it was like a gay bar or something. That was the only place they could find.
But the funny thing was, like, we were pretty much like, we got the message like the day before, like, okay, it's not going to happen upstate. We'll get in touch with you and give you the
Yeah.
new location. We're going to try to move it to the city. So we were literally all at my house until like 3 PM when we got the call. Okay, it's going to be here. So that's
Yeah.
how last minute was.
And the
So-
funny thing was is that if I remember correctly, it was a lot of people still there. I mean,
Yeah,
it
it
still
was a
was
good
really
show.
successful. The fact that they
Well-
moved it so many times,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
people came out. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
And well, there were
you
people
remember that,
flew
Steve?
in.
Right? We were like downstairs underneath in like the basement level.
He's
Steve,
like negative.
What's that?
we're
You remember
talking
that
about-
show? That was like we were like in that basement. It was like down underneath. It was the club, and we had to go downstairs, and it was like not a big room, but it was like it was pretty cool.
Skinless was there.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
trying to
sweet.
think
That
of some of the other bands.
Yeah,
And it was a
Skinless.
weird thing because
Vital Remains, I think.
it was even weirder for me because I got set up with an in-store, and it was Belphegor's first ever time coming to the States, and
Wow.
1349's first time coming to the States.
yeah. I kinda
And we
remember
had
that,
set up an in-store with them, and the guy never like paid for the plane tickets. I don't think he left them over there because I was like, that's how I met Helmet, and Helmet was writing back and forth with me. And then like not one band showed up at the store because I think Morpheus was supposed to be on it too, but they didn't even play the gig.
yeah. It was
And,
it was a
nobody
mess.
showed up, but it was like a ton of people from all around.
Yeah.
Levin, you must have been there, no?
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean, we were just there with all these people. There were people that flew in from California. There were people from, I don't know, all over. And I met my friend Faith from Philadelphia. You guys probably know a little bit, Faith from the scene, but met everybody there. And I said, well, what the fuck are we going to do? I said, well, I just sent somebody. I said, go up to the store and get the fucking couple cases of beer at least, and we'll have a little drinking party. And we all ended up, some people ended up here at my house. Some people ended up at the strip club, and I mean, we made the best of it, but it was definitely a strange situation.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, we
But,
showed
I
up.
mean, at least it happened.
Yeah, we got down there, and it was a decent. I mean, the room was packed. It wasn't
No,
a
it
huge
was- yeah,
place,
it was
It was hard to
good show.
believe that the fact that
Yeah.
they changed it so many times. I couldn't believe.
but
Like,
yeah, it was
yeah,
fun.
Yeah, people actually found it, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
yeah.
bring up a
After
couple
we
of
found it.
memorable shows of seeing you guys. Of course,
Yeah. Actually,
Well,
I think I was
that's
at
right.
that Death in the Forest too.
were you at that show, John?
I think I was there. Yeah, I was there at the show. I didn't know where it was going to be at, but I ended up finding out. Finding
it's
there.
kinda
They're like,
like,
I was in the forest waiting.
yeah.
Yeah, I was in the forest. I was the only one in the forest waiting for the
Like
show.
I was under the North Jersey moon waiting.
First, it was supposed to be
Yeah.
a bare mountain, and that's why they called it Death in the Forest. Then it was going to a campground and up by Wurtzboro. And everybody would, okay, yeah, you can have it here. That, oh, where's your insurance? We don't have any. Then they moved it to the Orange County Fair Speedway,
Oh
and they
wow.
were going to host it, but didn't have any insurance. And then somehow this club in the city ended up, or it might not have happened at all, but yeah, it was crazy.
Yep.
A couple of the other memorable times seeing you guys, I thought one of the most blistering sets you put on is when you guys opened up for Mayhem at Irving Plaza.
That
was a good
was
show. That was a good show.
probably one of our most memorable
Yeah.
New York shows. I think
That was pretty fired up.
I think we all feel like that, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That
we
was
were
great.
right up front.
That was the last
supporting you
show, too, I
guys,
think,
and
of
it
the
was
tour.
just killer. I mean, and then Mayhem came out, and they were just on top of their game that night too. I thought.
Yeah, it was
That
a good
was-
tour. Really good tour.
That was a good
You
tour.
did that whole tour with them, right? It wasn't just a
Yeah.
one-off
Yeah,
in New York
I
City.
seen it in
That was
Pittsburgh.
cool.
And Black
Yeah.
Anvil on that one. So.
Yeah.
Black
Oh yeah, I love Black Anvil's another great band. I think a little underrated. You don't hear too much about. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was an awesome
Great
tour,
band.
man. It was
Yeah,
really
that was a great thing to be part of. For
Great
sure.
guys.
Yeah, it
It
was very cool.
And that show in particular, because we had never played Irving Plaza. I'd been seeing shows
Really?
there my whole life, and that was our
Yeah.
first time playing Irving Plaza. So it was kind of like a moment for us. We're like, wow, cool. We finally got to play this place.
Yeah.
You know? So, just one of those cool.
Yeah, Irving Plaza is legendary, especially for a
Yeah.
New Yorker,
And
Yeah.
it was
Another-
very, yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Another legendary club I saw you guys at once as I made my wife actually went. It was up at Saratoga Winters. And it was
Oh,
like,
wow. Yep.
it
There
was like you guys were on the road with Deicide and Skinless were there too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And what
yeah,
I
that was a-
remember, other than your shot and everything else, what I remember the most about that show was Glenn was in a fucking crazy bad mood. And he was
Oh,
like,
was he?
just like tearing the fucking instrument out of his hands. And he was just screaming out after each song at the sound guy, like, and he was so mad all night, but it made it actually more enjoyable because I think he played because he was so mad.
Probably just that night because they had their own sound guy with them, and he was a really cool guy, and you know, there weren't really any issues like that. We had a great time on that tour, man. Glenn was awesome.
Yeah,
Steve
it was just that night I remember, and someone said that Skinless stole his bottle of Jaeger or something. I don't know if that was the real truth behind it or not.
That we don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that, but it was a great tour, man. It was great to be out with Skinless. That was our first tour with Skinless, and it was cool to be out with. It was our first tour with Deicide too,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
So it was, you know, later era Deicide. We had Jack Owen and you know Ralph
Yeah.
Santola, rest in peace. But it was an awesome tour, man. We got along great with those guys. We had a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah,
that was
that
a
was
good
great.
night for me.
Yeah,
I was really surprised at how stable they were after everything I heard about them guys.
Yeah.
especially
Yeah, it
Glenn
was a
and
very,
they were like,
Yep.
very low key. I mean,
Very
everybody,
chill.
yeah. No, they were awesome,
They
man.
didn't live up to the hype of going crazy, and
Nah, dude.
yeah, wrecking
Nah,
shit and breaking
I never
shit.
toured with them. I don't know.
nah, they were
No,
was
they
seemed
totally
cool,
cool
though.
with us.
everything was smooth.
A lot of
sailing,
respect,
yeah,
man. They were
Good.
I can't say enough
Yeah.
positive things. It was really
I
cool.
think I might have saw that same tour. Maybe it was like BB King's with you guys too. I think I saw that tour twice.
Yeah, did we play BB Kings? I don't
know if it was
remember.
BB King.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I probably
don't know.
played something else on that. You know, usually if up there you can hit it. Like the
You might-
joy of living in this area. If you really want to see a band a couple times on a tour, you can hit New York, you can hit Albany. You know,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in this area. And I guess one other time I was thinking about was me and Rich McGann were hanging out with you guys. You guys
Rich.
were friends with Rich. And you guys were playing the Gramercy. I don't remember the lineup, but you didn't have anybody with the merch, and me and Rich ran your merch while
Oh.
you guys were playing.
Was it
I think Jungle
When we-
Rot might have been there.
Jungle Rotten Geigen? That was when
Oh, the
Providence
Providence,
came out. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yep.
Yep. I remember that. You and Rich were back there. Yeah, Rich is the man. What's up, Rich? If you're watching this, I
Yeah,
have,
I
I have
haven't
to
seen
call
Rich
Rich.
in a while.
We've
But
been
yeah,
playing
that was
phone
a-
tag back and forth, so I got to call him.
I said, I had some knowledge in selling shirts, so yeah, let me pop in. And I guess before I let everybody else take the room, I just want to talk about one more time. I think the last time I saw you guys was on that Decibel tour where you were with Morbid.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Neck
yeah.
Rock
That was a
and
cool,
Blood Incantation, and for some reason how they had it working because Cannibal was on that tour
Yep.
Yes.
and New York City, and we did attend that show also. But
Yeah.
then like the next night, you guys hopped on, but it was way up in Worcester at the Palladium, and like I was
Yes.
with some of my younger metalhead friends that used to travel, Ben Worth and a couple of
Yep.
the other
Yeah,
guys.
I saw you there that day, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we drove up just to see you guys. It was like we got to see, and of course, what's nothing wrong with seeing. I really fell in love with Blood Incantation. I thought they were amazing.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
How
Neck
could you
Rock,
not?
too.
They were great. I mean, the whole tour, it was a really
Morbid.
Yeah, you can
well
see it.
put together tour.
Yeah,
man,
it was
really.
great.
Neck
I thought it was
Rock.
just a shame that they didn't get you on and just add one more band to that New York
Well,
City show. You know,
Oh, that
just-
would have been epic.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that because we were a little sour that we didn't like get to play the New
I know,
York
it's
City
like that.
show
Couldn't
because
do it.
it was at like the Best Buy Theater right in Times Square, and that's another one of those venues we've
Yeah.
never played before. So
Yeah.
we were like, of course we don't get that one.
Yeah,
And even
We'll
we
do the
said,
one
well,
after
why is
that.
Immolation not playing? Wait a minute, where are they playing? They got to play in Worcester, or we got to drive to like Maryland to see them or something, you know?
So I think we played in Pittsburgh that night. Otherwise, we
Yeah.
wouldn't have been at that.
Yeah.
New York
Yeah.
City
Philly.
show. We would have liked to have said hi to the Cannibal guys.
I think it was Philly. Was
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Oh, no, you're right.
No, we played in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
a cool show.
That was a really good show
Yeah,
too. But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, John, you were at that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was
Yeah.
the Pittsburgh show?
Pittsburgh.
Remember we played in Pittsburgh
Winners.
right before we jumped on that Decibel tour. That was like in
Yeah.
2019.
I
at the
rember,
Philly.
but I don't
It's
remember
like
where
a
that
warm-up
was
night,
at.
right?
It was at a small place. It was downstairs.
Downstairs.
Oh, that
Small
co
venue.
Arcada
what's it
played.
called?
Oh wait, I'll tell you
Yeah.
right now. It's
Uh,
right here behind us.
I
We
know.
got Cativo.
Cativo, that's it. Yeah,
You're close.
Cativo in the
I got
basement.
the
Yeah,
poster on the wall over here. I'm like, where-
Oh yeah.
And-
yeah. They make
that
a
was
cool
a-
poster for those shows.
yeah, and it was a
Yeah.
cool show. I mean, it was better than I thought. It was really good.
Yeah.
So,
And before I shut up and let somebody else drive the bus, I wanted to mention a show I did not attend for some reason, was up in Kingston. And it was at this bar called The Anchor. And I had friends that go and they talk about this show till the day is end. And when the place was going out of business, and I guess the fans went kind of crazy.
Well, go ahead. You could explain.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the deal with that. Apparently, I guess the guy who was renting the place was no longer going to be renting it. So right before we hit the stage, the guy who was apparently running the place he was kind of half in the bag, and he came up on stage like he was going to introduce us, and he was like, "Hey everybody, I want to introduce Immolation, and this is going to be our last show here. So tear this place apart. We don't care." And I was just kind of like, "Why would you say that before we played?" You know? Like inciting shit to happen. But then I kind of diffused it a little bit. Like, no, because they started to go crazy right in the beginning, like ripping shit down, and we were like, "Relax,
literally.
Let's get through the show, and once we're out of here, you guys do what you want."
Yeah.
So we had to
They were like
stop
tearing shit off the ceiling. paneling.
it was insane.
Yeah,
They're like
nuts.
yanking the exit sign down, pulling the ceiling fans down.
It was like Slayer circa 85,
Yeah, it
you know, it was like that crazy.
nuts.
So
People, it was like one of those 80s arena shows at the Meadowlands, but you guys
Exactly.
were playing it up in Kingston at a club.
so we got through
There, go crazy.
we got through the show, and what we did was we said, let's get out of here as quick as we can. We got all of our gear, right? We got all our gear. We got the merch. We were out of there. Like we left the stage. We were probably out of there within 20 minutes. All of our stuff, merch, everything out the door.
Yeah.
And then as we were leaving, like someone showed us a picture of like a chair sticking out of the wall. Like it already had
Yeah,
begun.
it was like a bar stool stuck in the wall.
Yeah.
You know, somebody threw the bar stool into the wall. And
So
it
they
stuck
were-
out of the wall. So we're like, it's time to get out of here
Yeah.
completely because the cops are going to come and.
So, we
Yeah,
didn't want to get
who was
wrapped up in
playing
any
here
of
tonight?
that.
Yeah,
you
because
know.
we had that shit.
That's Paul Baloff shit right there. You're talking. It's just like,
Yeah,
you
that
know.
was just, we just don't want to get caught up in that.
Yeah,
You became the band on the run that night.
Oh man.
Yeah, when you're loading out through debris from the club, it's been a wild night.
Yeah. So that was probably the only show like that we've had, you know,
Ever?
Ever.
ever.
Wow.
Ever.
So the most brutal show for Immolation, the most
Mostly.
violent one ever, was held in Kingston, New York, guys.
Yeah.
It was.
Of all places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
All right,
But-
I'm gonna leave the room and I'll come back with my favorite albums at the end of the show.
See, that was the crazy high point. It's all down here.
Yeah.
Downhill from there.
Playing with
That
Mayhem
was
was
great.
like mellow after Kingston.
It's like a Bad Luck Riot 13 show, right?
Yeah, totally.
Oh boy.
Cool. I guess.
What was that? That was the same band that you had up here. We were talking about Balls Mahoney and a little of the ECW wrestling before we went on the air, and Steve Levin was involved with the band that used to come up here and play. It was part of Bad Luck 13, right? It was like a wrestling style hardcore or something.
Yeah, Eat the Turnbuckle from Philadelphia.
That's
I'm
right. Yeah.
familiar with them.
Yeah.
The
They're from my neck of the
turnbuckle,
woods.
that's
I know some of
Eat
those.
the
Absolutely.
turnbuckle.
Like George the Animal Steel style.
Oh yeah, crazy stuff. Great guys though. You would never like when you meet the guys and everything. It's like they're just the nicest guys in the world. You know, I'm like good friends with all of them. They've slept at my house and everything, and it's like, but when you see them on stage, it's like no joke, and they do some funny stuff, man. I've seen some great stuff at some of those shows.
And they hired Balls Mahoney to be at the show in Middletown. And I mean, Steve, I was at the show, and Steve used to dress around like a luchador and walk around with a bat in his hand. He stole it and give it to Steve Levin. Well, now we're way off topic, but
Yeah.
well, thanks you guys for coming on tonight, and we'll have somebody
Be on
else talk
target.
now. I just want to talk about some of the memorable gigs in the area and stuff.
No, that's cool, man. I love to go down memory lane as
Cool.
the guys know.
Yeah. So, Steve Levin, you have any questions?
Yeah, I just want to say it's great to be here with you guys. I've talked to you at a lot of shows and stuff, just like Steve says. I've seen you quite a few times, and I actually mentioned to you, I said, it's great you guys come out, always support the bands. You're like, well, these guys are our friends. So, we just come to say hello and hang out,
Sure.
So it's still real cool. And, you know, like Steve had said, also, you're always really approachable and everything. And the bad thing about Steve and I, when Steve goes before me or vice versa, I think that we bring up a lot of each other's stuff because we're from the same neck of the woods. So I was actually going to mention that basement show, which was kind of crazy. I think there was like 50 grand worth of damage and smashed toilets and all that stuff. So that's
Were you
never
actually there, Steve?
No, you know what's crazy, man, is I had this
Somehow
like
we
feel.
both missed it.
I said, you know what? I shouldn't go to the show. I have this weird thing, this weird like sixth sense or something. Sometimes I get a little bugged out and I'm like, you know what? Something doesn't feel right. I'm going to stay home tonight. So I stayed home that night, you know? So maybe if I was there, like a toilet would have fallen on my head or something. So maybe it was better.
You know, that's we've went to go play shows, gotten a bad feeling and left before we even played sometimes.
Really? So
yeah.
You know what I'm
in the
talking
early days.
Yeah, for
I
whatever
know what you
reason.
mean.
Yeah.
But I was actually set to go with a friend and his girlfriend. So yeah, for whatever reason, I did miss that one, but I did want to bring that up. And, you know, I go way back with you guys. I remember the Rigor Mortis demo coming out, Decomposed demo.
Wow.
You know, that's great stuff. I remember a real long time ago, maybe it was like 1990, you guys played in Middletown, New York. I think it was, Steve, what was the name of that place?
Class of something.
Yes, the class. I couldn't, the class of
You had
57.
the class. I mean, it was many different names. Maybe when you were there, it was a class of 57. It was a class.
Right.
It was a powerhouse of rock. It was a comedy music corner. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you guys did play there. I think there's a picture of you guys from you did an in-store at my store from around that area.
Yes.
Remember that? Yeah.
It might have been around the same time, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Mhm.
I thought that day we kind
It
of
was
went over and
probably
hung
the
out
day
at
of
the
the
store.
show. Yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah, that
Ralph,
shit was
Ralph
great.
Tambora is one of my great customers. Everybody in the room knows Ralph, I'm sure. And Ralph is going to let us know the exact dates in the comments. He'll yell at me when I see him in the store. He's like, you guys were all wrong. You didn't play that gig day. You played it somewhere else.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was the class of whatever.
Yeah, it
57.
was.
Yeah,
It was
totally.
a
Yeah.
class. I mean, we had the Rock Palace for a while too, but I don't think you guys ever made it over there.
No, it was the class. You guys actually, I know you played with Human Remains. I don't remember.
Wow.
Yeah, Human Remains played. So, I mean, from Middletown, that was crazy. And I used to remember a lot of those shows that were like, you know, with Human Remains and Psychosis and Ripping Corpse, obviously, and Nocturnal, some of those great Jersey bands. I mean, there was so much stuff coming out, just so much stuff in the whole scene that was so good then. And it's just, you know, real good time. So, you know, it's nice to see you guys again. And one quick question I did have for you. Whatever happened to Alex Hernandez?
Alex just left the band. We were doing a run of tours. We were in Europe with Cradle of Filth, and then we were scheduled to do a tour about a week after that one ended. And that was a long tour. We did like about a month supporting Cradle of Filth, and then after that was over, we jumped on a tour with Marduk and Malevolent Creation.
Wow.
For like another 2 weeks. So we were there for like 6 weeks. And while we were over there, he developed a hernia. He was sick at the end of the tour and not in good shape. And I think just the life in general was kind of wearing down on him. And I think he just kind of wanted to be home with his kid and settle down and just not be on the road anymore. So understandable.
We just didn't expect it a week between the two tours. So
Yeah.
you know, he kind of sprung it on us and we're like, okay. And then, well, in came Steve.
That
so-
was the catalyst. That was the catalyst that got Steve in the
That's
band.
right.
So that was a
So
that
it
was a
was all
beautiful
good,
thing,
all
man.
good,
Yeah.
all good.
You know, life things are meant to happen, you know, and
Yep.
Steve was
Yeah,
meant to
What,
be in the
what,
band.
Steve-
what year was that? When did you join the band? Steve?
2003.
2003. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Steve had about 4 days to learn like a set's worth
Yeah.
of songs and
Jeez.
literally like studying them from what I remember. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he said as he was flying over to New York, you know, he's like listening to certain songs and just kind of studying them. And basically we were like, you know, Ross had called him and said like, all right, man, you think you could do it? And Steve's like, I think I could do it. He's like, you sure?
Totally.
Because we're going to fly you over. He's like, yes, I could do it. He's like, all right, done. So we got the plane ticket. and
Wow.
Now, mind you,
then-
Amazing.
we
Man.
called and reached out to about 5 other drummers before Steve, who are very well-known drummers, who are very competent drummers, and they were all like, "Nah, I can't do that in that amount of time." None of them wanted to do it, wanted to, you know, take that on. Understandably so. I mean, and Steve was just like, "I could do it."
Yeah.
Wow.
Steve's
Yeah,
always
correct.
been known as a great drummer in the Cleveland scene and stuff. So when you got him to play, I knew it was going to be no problem. But I honestly, when I did hear you guys play with Steve, I was really impressed because it really brought things to a higher level in the band, in my opinion.
Yep.
I mean,
No doubt,
no disrespect to Alex, but
No,
not you, Alex, but the other Alex Hernandez.
There's a lot of Steves and Alexes
There's a
around.
lot of Alex and Steve.
We got
Yeah,
Alex and Steve,
right,
Steve,
exactly. So, but anyway, but it was one of those weird things where, yeah, it happened on such short notice, but somehow it was just meant to be. And you just brought what the band needed at the time in the right way. It's almost like a flawless, a flawless thing. It actually reminds me of how you went from Neil to Craig, right before Dawn of Possession. It's like,
Yeah.
holy crap, out of nowhere, you just have this other drummer come in and it sounds freaking great. It's like,
well,
how the hell?
Yeah, the problem with Neil is we believed in Neil, and Neil didn't, I don't think, believe that he could do it. And I think once we actually signed the deal with Roadrunner and it became a reality, and we were like, yeah, we're going to go to Germany to record this, I think he just kind of got cold feet and didn't think he was ready because he'd only been playing drums since we started the band. So he started playing drums in February 88, and we were recording the album in what, 91? 91?
Oh,
3
man.
years. Woo! So I understand. I mean, he was young and,
He was getting better too. He was improving.
Sure. No, he was, he did a great job.
But we were lucky that Craig jumped in.
Well, sure.
So
It was kind of weird because it kind of happened almost in a similar way, like a last minute thing almost.
Sure.
I mean, not as last minute as a couple days before the tour, but still pretty last minute in
Yeah.
general.
For recording a record, though. Yeah, absolutely.
Steve had it a lot harder than Craig had ever. Believe me.
It was a couple months, I think, right? It was like 2 months before or some shit like that.
Yeah, we were starting that album cycle with Oh no, we were I'm thinking now. I'm fast forwarding ahead now. I'm all.
What are you saying?
we're talking about the transition from Neil to Craig. I was already moving forward from Craig to Alex.
Yeah.
There was another weird transition between that.
Well, yeah.
Drummer change.
Yeah.
Because like we did the recording for Here and After with Craig, and we were about to go on our first tour for that. It was like in February of '96 with 6 Feet Under. And literally about a month before the tour, Craig disappeared, and we didn't hear from him. We don't know where he went. So we were again, our hand. Fate forced our hand. And we knew Alex from what was it?
Fallen Christ.
Fallen Christ.
Yeah.
Because we had played shows with them, and that was killer shit. So
we felt he was definitely capable. And then after that, hearing from Craig for like a month, and then we were just like, all right, we have a few weeks before this tour, we got to make a move here, and we did, and that was it.
Yeah. So, and that was that. So yeah, every drummer transition was weird, but that's the last one.
Exactly.
I tell you what made it easy for me when they wanted to know if I could do it was all the time that I had spent listening to just recreationally and practicing to the first 2 albums, man, Dawn of Possession and Here and After. I was so familiar with that stuff that if you had told me we were doing just songs like off of those first 2 albums, I'd have probably been able to fly right over just play with you guys. You know what I mean? I practiced
You pretty much did. I mean, anyway.
those albums.
Yeah.
So classic. Those were like.
Where were you back then, Steve?
Where was I? Yeah, right. Yeah, in Clevo. But
but you learned what, like 10 songs in like 4 days.
Yeah. I mean, you pretty much did just that. You flew over here and started playing the first show a few days later.
10 songs. He came up like literally. I talked to him. He's like, okay, you had to sort out stuff with your job, and you had to just make sure everything was cool in the home front. And he's like, I'll let you know tomorrow or whatever. And he got back to us, okay, I'm good. Everything's good. I got my flight. And literally the day after he flew in, and it was go time, and he spent like 4 days in my garage with Bob, going through the
I talked to you like Friday morning and flew out Saturday morning.
Yeah. I mean, it was like that. I mean, that's how, there was like,
well, we were pressed for time. So there was
So there was no time to even like debate whether like, can I do this? He was just like, I could do it. Don't worry. And he came in, and that was it.
Yeah, but it was the familiarity that I had with those first 2 albums, especially Dawn. Like Dawn of Possession was one of my, every time I would practice playing drums, that was an album that I played to. You know what I mean? I played all like the class, and that was one of them. So just based on that, I felt so comfortable with it. You know what I mean? I was just like, yeah, sure.
And then
let's do it.
Cool. Getting back to what John was saying earlier, when you joined the band, you remember our first show was in Maryland, I think. Remember that? And
Yes,
like,
Baltimore. Yep.
yeah. And that show for us was probably the most bizarro live experience ever.
It was.
And this is, I'm going to tie in John's comments from earlier, because John was saying, like, when you joined the band, it was like, wow, it finally clicked, you know. But I think what he meant was, you know, our tempos were so out of whack back then before you joined. Everything was way too fast. So the heaviness, the heaviness got lost. It was just super fast.
Yeah.
Like Alex was,
Before you know it, the song was over.
yeah. I mean, Alex was a phenomenal drummer, but the timing was very, like, the fast parts were everything seemed like too fast or too slow or whatever it was, and it kind of took the dynamics out of the song. And the thing is when you're playing it
We didn't
night
realize.
after night on tour, you're not realizing it. You're
We
just
didn't
trying
know.
to catch up and keep up. But the minute we played with Steve the first show, I mean, it felt like we were playing underwater, and that's only because he was going the right speed, and it felt so strange and awkward to us. It almost seemed like, you know, I remember thinking, like, is this sound weird to the crowd too? Like, it was so bizarre. But then we realized we were playing stuff so fast. It was so fast to the point of, like, where it just lost all the emotion and the feeling of the songs. And Steve was playing them the correct tempo.
Steve was playing them like album tempo, the way they should be played.
That's what I was practicing to with
Yes.
the CDs. I didn't rehearse with you guys, man.
Yeah,
I was playing the CDs for 3 days straight. A little with Bob after that, and then the first show was like our first rehearsal as a band. That was the first time I played with Bill. First time I played with Ross.
Yeah, dude.
Show. Crazy on stage in Baltimore.
It was weird.
Wow.
It's like we had to get ourselves out of that after being in that mode for so many years. It was like we had to kind of like put the brakes on and be like, wow, we're back to the regular tempo. You know?
And that's when, like, it made sense. I'm like, okay, this is what everybody meant.
Because I think, if I don't forget, I think John even mentioned that
He did.
once or twice.
John did.
Yeah, that sounded good, but man, you know, this sounds really
No,
fast. And
John
we're like, yeah, it's probably a little.
And John
bit
was playing with you guys, you know,
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
tours
Yeah.
with
On that-
Alex.
Yeah, that wasn't.
I've watched
close to Roll
videos
Below.
of that, and I was like, "What song is that?"
Yeah. No. Yes. And
That's
listen,
those left behind. I thought it was.
yes, I thought it was
Blasphemy
Higher
of the Holy
Coward.
Ghost.
Yeah. Nailed
I-
the goal.
I actually remember distinctly. It was in Essen, Germany. We were playing. I was playing with you guys, and I'm just on the side of stage trying to keep up, and I'm looking at Ross like, "Holy
Holy dude.
Like, I'm like, what? Like, this is so fast, you know?" And he's looking and he's, you know, Ross, you're looking at me like, you know, and I'm just like trying to keep
I'm
up
like,
with it.
hang in there, man.
Yeah.
Strap in and
We'll
just
get
keep
it.
up.
So we still didn't realize. We knew it was a little quick, but we did not realize the extent of it until Steve was in the band. We realized, wow, we were that far.
We're like, John, if you get lost, just look cool.
That's all you got to do.
You know, and here's another little tidbit. It's like, we played an Incantation for a hot minute, and John actually played an Immo for a hot minute in Cornwall. You did 2 tours with us.
Yeah.
John helped
crazy,
us
right?
out in the Failures for Gods era, which you probably need your head examined to come out with us on that record, because it's such a bizarro record.
It was great.
It was good, except for the buckets of ice that you needed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I gave myself carpal tunnel learning your songs. It's true.
First one here.
And but no, the songs on that album are really good. I really like the album a lot. I had a fun time doing it when I was capable of playing it, because I was like, I realized I didn't know I had carpal tunnel, or maybe I didn't have it until I started practicing those songs. Like,
Here it is.
That aggravated it.
I was like hanging in I was Tom's basement at the time
Yeah, dude.
with like 2 bottles of two buckets
There were-
of ice in my
When
hand.
I came in, you had two. One hand was in this bucket, the other hand was in that bucket of ice, and you're just like I'm like,
I came
damn,
in
what
that
the hell
day.
happened?
I'll never forget that. I came in, I was done with work, because we used to all work together. We were contractors for one of the cable companies in Yonkers.
Oh.
And we came home. I came back from one of my days at work, and I went into the basement to say hi to John, and he's just sitting there in a metal fold up chair with his guitar on the side with his hands in the buckets, and he's like, probably said something like, "Win."
He's like, I win first prize.
Yeah, first prize.
Yeah. It was one of those things where it was actually so much fun to do those shows with you and play. You know, it was great to play the songs and just to hang out with you guys was just fun.
Oh,
on
yeah,
tour.
great time. I mean,
yes.
the U.S. tour, we had the van. You know.
Yeah, it was a total blast. It just, if my hands would have not been so inflamed and in pain every
Yeah,
night,
I mean,
it would
that
have been
did
awesome.
suck. That was
That's right. I mean, I had carpal tunnel for years. I still have it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just part of the process. But those were fun, man. I mean, the U.S. tour was fun. We had your old blue van, remember?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
had your blue van. And like every night, a lot of nights, Bob would start off driving after the show, and John and I would be underneath. He had
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a lower level like we have in our van. And John and I, and every night we'd have our ritual. We'd go and get our queso and chips, and we just sit back there and pound our queso and chips, talking about the show. And that was it. But that was like I remember that, like every night we just have a blast. It was a good time. And Europe was awesome.
Yeah, it was a real fun time. It's something I'll
Funny,
always remember for
we
sure.
all played together in one way or another and know
totally.
each other's bands.
Absolutely.
You know?
And it was probably,
You know?
I imagine it was probably cool for you, John, because it was probably one of the few times you were able to step out of the role of being like the guy, being the responsible guy, and just kind of enjoy and play and have fun with your friends, you know, and not have to worry about business and bullshit.
Yep.
And that's and I think that probably helped the experience too.
Well, I mean, it was great. I mean, it was a mixture between just being able to hang out and play with my friends that I've known forever. Then also, to not have to deal with the business and just, you know, that makes it, you know, totally fun too. And playing songs that I love. So it was definitely no real downside, you know, for me or whatever, you know.
It was fun, man.
I'm honored to have gotten a choice.
We were so happy you did that.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was happy to get that opportunity, you know. So, I mean, it was
I think we even left the door open for you, if I remember. You know,
yeah,
like,
you
hey,
did.
You want to join? Go right ahead, kid.
But John's too dedicated.
Which
so I respect.
Yeah,
it.
really
I
understand.
got my own thing. So
yeah, well, it was just one of those things where I thought it was just, you know, it was so much fun what we did and how everything was going. I just thought it wouldn't be right for me to do it because, incantation is so important to me, and I just out of respect for Immolation, I didn't want to do it. I just thought that my input would maybe, you know, tarnish what the history is supposed to be of Immolation. It just felt that way for some reason, you know, felt like I had to leave, be happy that it was great. I was having a great time. And I had to kind of just follow my own, my own vision.
Dude.
Totally.
Hey, listen, man, we were there when you were debating whether you should leave Revenant, which you talked about in a couple of interviews.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I remember that time specifically, you know, and we were just kind of like, yeah, dude, you want to do heavier stuff? Do it, man.
Yeah, because that seemed to be what was close to what you wanted to do to your heart of, as far as what you wanted to project with the music. So
we were happy, man, just to kind of, hey, dude, do it, man. We were happy, man.
Yeah, I do have to say that, you know, you guys really were some of the only people that I was around at that time that supported me, you know, in wanting to move on, because most people thought I was crazy for leaving Revenant because they were just starting to get, you know, pretty popular, and they were, you know, they got some, you know, record prospects and stuff like that. And I, you know, I just remember that you guys, you know, basically just told me, just believe in yourself, do it what you want to do, you know, don't just.
You have to.
We knew you could do it. I mean, your heart wasn't in Revenant at that point. You were like already into the like much heavier stuff. I mean, we would hang out, so we knew what you were into. You had already crossed that line.
Absolutely.
So it would be foolish to do something your heart wasn't into. And I know you weren't there, you know, up here anymore. So so we knew you could do it. I mean, and you did.
And obviously, it was good that you did.
But at that time, it was a big a big step, you know, because Revenant was my life. You know, I put so much hard work into the band, and to make that switch over was not something that I took very lightly, you know. So I thank you for that.
Understood, man. And I remember when you sent a shout out to us when you guys played Maryland a couple years back, remember? And it was at one of the last years of the outdoor stage, and Mike Sayers came up and did a couple songs with you guys. And you sent a really nice shout out to us, and you mentioned that whole thing, and I thought that was really cool. And I never really got to, you know, just say, hey man, thanks for saying that. That was really nice and really heartfelt. So thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's the story of Steve joining the band. Is much like an episode we did a couple months ago, John. It reminded me of when we had Vinny Appice on, and he was talking about joining Sabbath and flying over to Europe to like remember a little bit.
3 days or something like that.
Yeah, it was like kind of just reminisced in my head from that episode we were talking about.
Yeah. Well, that was a great episode too, man.
Did you dig it?
It was awesome, man. Yeah, he was so cool, man.
He was, isn't it?
So cool, man. I was like, wow, this is awesome. That was, I think, the first one I watched.
Me and John were both really nervous that night because John came on and he was nervous. I said, well, I'm glad you are because I was nervous too. I would actually hit the restroom a couple times. I
I'd be
didn't really
nervous as
realize.
shit.
Yeah. But
Andrew Freeman, you know, I got to give out to Andrew, who's been really helping out the channel. He's been finding these amazing guests. We had like, you know, Vivian Campbell last week with we did a Thin Lizzy episode, and it was like they'll come up with these crazy things like, oh, you want Viv to come by? Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not?
Awesome.
That's great.
yeah,
It's cool though. They've been really, I think, and John, you've killed it, man. You've done a great job. I said to Bob, I
Thank
said,
you, John.
John has found
Yeah.
his new calling, man. I think you've like all the interviews. I watched the one with you and Jeff from Possess.
Yep.
The one with you and Martin from Asphyx. I mean,
Yeah.
really good interviews, man. Really well done. I mean, just
Yeah.
you know, because your approach. I mean, you come from a perspective of someone who's been in the game since
Yeah.
the beginning. You know, so
And
your
he's
knowledge,
a fan,
man.
you know?
yeah, your
Someone that
knowledge
is into the music. you know?
yeah, it's very cool, man. You've done a great job.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
agree.
really, man.
I just do. It's easy when
I
you
agree.
love the
John's been
music
a
and
huge
stuff.
help to my channel. Yes, he has.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it means a
No,
lot
for real,
for
yeah.
sure. I just, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I just go for
Neither
it, you
do
know?
I.
Well, you're doing a good job,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I
But,
think we're all
um,
just hanging out, making the best of this fucking shitty time we're living through, and we're talking about music we love and getting to, I'm getting to hang out with a lot of my heroes on the channel, and it's just a big help of having all these other bands involved, whether it's Robin or Andrew Freeman's like our LA connection for some of the regular rock and hair metal guys and stuff like that, and then of course John and Robin got all the death and the thrash metal, and it's been something to keep me sane right now during this.
yeah,
Hey.
it's been really cool, man. I gotta say, I've really enjoyed all the ones I've watched. I've
Oh
really
yeah,
enjoyed.
man! I'm glad you guys are on tonight, and we can always do it again down the road if you want to come on and talk about a band.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always
It's-
welcome to chill.
Yeah.
It's-
I wanted to bring up, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
I wanted to bring up with Steve. I lived in Cleveland for a while, so I knew Steve from his former band, Odious Sanction. And I mean, they were, we played a lot of shows with them and stuff. And I, got to know the guys, and I know Kyle was good friends with them too. So I kind of got to know him from there. I always knew he was a great drummer, but I didn't know that he had all that in him, because Odious Sanction was a lot more, I don't know, it was just, I
different
didn't know.
style.
Yeah, I didn't notice like the so much of the technical ability. It was more just like really kind of more moshy, more that kind of vibe to it. And when I heard him with you guys, I was just like, holy crap! I did not know he had all that. Like that, like he would just fit right in, like just perfectly, exactly what Immolation needed.
He's a
Because
secret ripper. He's
yeah,
When he joined Immolation, he brought out the Shalaty swing. That's why. And he don't mean a thing without the Shalaty swing.
That's right.
Well, I think he's brought in a very like kind of jazzy element to the drumming, and I think it's actually enhanced a lot of the music. I think
Absolutely.
No
with
doubt.
riffs and
Not a
stuff like
doubt.
that. Just the creativeness of all those intricate, cool, tasteful. Let me say, tasteful stuff that Steve does. And
Yeah, I
for
agree.
me, I got to say, like, I played with a lot of great drummers over the years, and every time I go out on stage with Steve, I know he's got my back, and I know he's going to give it 110% every night. And,
Thanks.
Steve
and
is
I could say that for all of us, actually,
Steve
but
is the only drummer.
yeah, I mean, and as
Same.
far as I'm concerned, I go back from the beginning of the band, even pre-Immolation, Rigor Mortis, and he's hands down the best drummer that's ever been in this band, without a doubt.
Wow.
yeah, I
Thank-
agree.
Agreed.
There's
Yeah,
no contest, no disrespect to any other guys, and they all did a great
No,
job.
We've been lucky
It's
enough
not-
to have great drummers.
Right.
but
It's not meant
Steve's
like that. I
Definitely,
mean, I mean, what you said. Never since Steve joined the band did I feel confident going on a stage every night. As I am with Steve. Like,
Yeah,
I never
absolutely.
worry
Yeah.
about anything with Steve.
Yep, yep.
Really,
I think-
and that's the truth. And you know that we've told you that before,
Yeah.
but it's true. Going
Thanks,
that stage, I worry more about me failing or missing a vocal line or shit in the bed somehow, or someone else, but never you. And
Yeah.
that's the most important thing, because there was always that. We had instances with past drummers, where we've had some moments on stage where like, wow, that was not good. You
Like,
know?
like almost like they're
Oops.
playing one song and we're playing the other.
You know, like
A
when
moment you don't want to have.
when the
Oh, I
train
know
gets
those.
on a different track,
Yeah,
but we're on
yeah.
this track and the drummer's on that track. That's not good.
Mhm. Me and John have experienced that too.
Yeah.
Well, when it happens, it's not
Yeah.
it's not a negative, it's not anything negative on the other drummers. It happens, but my point is we've never had to worry about that with Steve and the time he's been with us, which is
Dude,
he's
thanks,
been with us
Sully.
the longest.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, from an outsider's point of view, when I seen the band with Steve, I was just like, okay, this is the deal. There you could really tell that everything just got a lot more solid. And I think just in general, the band was able to properly progress in a more natural way because it seemed like at a certain, once you joined, it had to get that solid base where the band is able to actually, explore other things that they were kind of maybe starting to try to do on some of the stuff earlier with Alex, but with you, it just seemed like it all works better. It just makes sense. It just I don't know how to explain it. It just makes sense, and it seems like it just gets better and better with time.
Thank you, man. That's
So-
awesome. That's
Yeah.
that's my wish for it. I don't want to anything I do with these guys. I don't want to detract at all from what's already been done. I want to maintain everything that was good about the drummers that came before me, but I also do want to add my own thing and like you said, allow for the ultimate flexibility of the creative process and stuff. So that means a ton. You saying that, man, that's exactly what I want. So thank you very much. Thanks,
Well,
guys.
trust me, I'm happy because you want to see, your friends and, band that you love, you want to see them kick ass, you want to see it go really well. Because I actually just did an interview recently with Annie Bowman about the old G. Williker days.
Oh.
And, it's like, especially, Alex, Ross, Bob, and like that crew, we're, part of from this era, this special scene back in the day. And we want to see each other be successful. We want to see each other do well because it's all part of like, it's like a brotherhood or something that we have from back then. I mean, I remember being so proud when Immolation got signed to Roadrunner Records. It was like one of us is actually, really doing something. It was like, it wasn't just Immolation getting signed. It was like one of us were getting signed in a way,
I agree.
That's
So
how
to-
it was. You're right. It was a brotherhood. I mean, we all kind of looked out for each other. I mean, if we had a show opportunity, we'd call you guys up and vice versa. I mean, we all kind of, it was, there weren't that many bands like us. That's why. So when you found a kindred spirit, you kind of latched onto that person and that band, and we all kind of came up together, like you said. So yeah, we were all kind of supportive of each other, which was important back then. It was never a competitive thing. It was always very supportive, which was very cool.
If anything, it was inspirational. You seen like one of us. I mean, even add Gorephobia into the mix. When I heard Gorephobia and they were kicking ass, it was like, oh wow, I was really into it, and it inspires me to be better, or try to write better stuff. Hearing it, or I remember when I started hearing some of the songs you were writing, some of the early songs that were past the 2 demos, and I was like, oh fuck, those songs are so good, and it just gives you that inspiration. It wasn't like you want to nick it or anything. It just gives you that feeling like, wow, my buds can do it, maybe I could do it too, it just gives you that hope that we actually can achieve something if we, really put our minds to it. So it's a wonderful thing.
When I think back to then, like you were saying, it's like you wanted to see everybody do good. It was inspiring because I think, for instance, when we all kind of met each other, it's like we all kind of found each other like, oh, these are my people, these are the guys that have the same, think the way I do and all that kind of stuff. And it was the same if, Immo wrote a new song, or if you wrote a new song with Incant, or I wrote a new song with Gorephobia. I remember it was just kind of like seeing everybody, like you do something, and it was inspiring. And there wasn't a competitive thing, I don't think.
Yeah, no, not at all.
It was
back
just
then,
inspirational.
There wasn't a lot of bands, or a lot less bands doing it back then. I mean, we would play streets.
We didn't like the other bands,
shows.
though, I have to say, but at the time.
What?
We were all the black sheep. Like, for example, we rehearsed at a rehearsal space, a monthly rental place with all other bands, rock bands, like kind of thrash bands, glam bands. And we were the joke. I mean, we were the joke. Like, they goofed on us. They'd walk by our room and be like, what the hell are these guys playing? Like, we were the joke, we knew that. And, so it is what it is, but it never like,
deterred us from doing what we wanted to do.
It just kind of was like, whatever, this is what we want to do. And if you guys don't get it, well, whatever.
I mean, we'd
it was kind of like a rebellious thing.
Like you said, John, I was, when those guys first, because I know it was a long process with the Roadrunner thing for a while, that you guys were back and forth for a while, but I felt proud too. I was just like, one of us, you know what I mean? Is like, the real shit's getting out there, Well,
you remember we came down to Philly and Annie and Kim and them got a big cake for us. We had a celebration at Annie's house. And that was really cool, man. Awesome. I mean, it was just nice. I mean, we didn't think we would get a record deal. I mean, so it's like, wow.
I know. We ignored the first letter that they sent. We were just like, they're not going to sign us.
We didn't take it seriously.
And then Monty Connor, who was A&R for Roadrunner at the time, he sent a second letter, and he's just like, yeah, guys, this isn't the way to go about getting signed, So we're like, maybe they're serious. I don't know. So then we started, talking to them, but we literally ignored the first letter because we were like, yeah, they're not going to sign us. Why would they be interested in us? So it was definitely a different time. So.
But that when you got signed to Roadrunner, it was a big deal because bands like you guys didn't get signed to Roadrunner. I mean, there were death metal bands, but bands like in your style, no. That's why you probably didn't even think it was going to happen.
We were like, we got the letter, and we were just like, as if we put that aside. We never responded. And then like 6 months later, after the second demo came out, we got that second letter, and it was just so funny, like in retrospect, that when we did that Stepping on Angels release, we put that letter in there just so the fans could see how like green we were and just how we weren't like even like on that line of thinking, about signing, and we just wanted to play this music that nobody else was playing. It was like, I don't know, it was just cool. We loved it, and we still do. So
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, talking about you guys jamming in that rehearsal studio with all those other style bands, and you get that as being a guy that sells records or just being a fan of the genre. Oh, Steve listens to that death metal, so then they think you don't have any credibility of knowing about anything else. And that's what I like about this show too, because we get a bunch of guys from death metal bands that are like talking about like Led Zeppelin and every other thing, and they're like, wait a minute, those guys listen to that too. They don't just listen to
I think
Zeppelin would be good if he had lower vocals.
Well, you know what I mean. It's just a lot of these guys from like hair metal bands and like stuff that just like the clean vocals go like, oh, Keeler listens to death metal. Steve got it too, working in the store.
Like, I think it's always been that way.
I don't know, I mentioned any names from our friend base, but like, well, wait a minute. How do you guys like Rush? How would you even know about that if you listen to like Cannibal Corpse or Deicide? It's like, you guys don't know anything.
I think our fans know that we are all over the map musically as far as our tastes go. And especially, like Steve knows.
I was gonna say, maybe Steve knows we're all over the map.
Steve, we like put Steve through hell on the road. He's like, really, guys.
Even Alex has done a lot of episodes with us. I'm like, wait a minute, Alex, you like that? I'm like, oh yeah, you're talking about a lot of the classic stuff we've been doing.
Yeah, man. I mean, Steve's obviously just about a generation after us, I guess you could say, give or take. So it's like Steve, was brought up with a different style, type of stuff. So we're sitting there cranking like, I don't know, all sorts of crazy shit from Depeche Mode to Tori Amos in the van on the road, and he's just like in the back. You can hear him like, all right, guys, that's enough. Lower, turn that shit off. like the we put on like something more heavy, and then you look back and Steve's like, oh, thank goodness. Yeah. Puts the gun down. It's like, all right.
Put the gun down.
Oh my God.
You're killing me, guys.
Yeah, totally.
All right, already. So we are all over the map with our taste.
Yeah, cool. Steve Levin, did you pick out a couple of releases you wanted to say that were some of the ones that stood out with you or for the episode?
Oh, I love them all, man. I really do. As soon as I heard the early stuff, I knew right away you guys were going to be one of those bands that were just something that was unique. Bob, your style of playing, it's just that evil riff that you do. I think the one song that really made me know right away that you guys were definitely going to be something different was Those Left Behind. When you guys break into that ending part, it's just like so evil, and nobody had ever done anything that really sounded like that at that point. And then, you know, you just always seem to follow it up. Some of my favorite songs are Stench of High Heaven. I love that.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, my favorite song probably of all time from you guys that, I mean, I want to smash down a wall when I listen to it, and I'm not lying. Rival to Eminent. I love that song.
Wow.
Oh, okay, cool.
The
Yeah,
end of that song is so effing heavy, man. I mean, it's crazy. And it's not like, it's not fast. It's not even like crazy technical, but it's just so, it's so great. And, you know, when you combine all the evil riffs and then when we see you guys on stage and everything, you guys, I mean, you either have it or you don't as far as stage presence go. And you guys just, you can tell you guys are up there having a good time, really enjoy playing. And, you know, I just really love your guys' stage presence and everything. And just a quick question I had is, when did you decide that at like a certain point you were going to stop wearing like band t-shirts and stuff like that and then start wearing like the black shirts, the button-up shirts, which I think is really, really cool. I always like really dig that. It's like something that's pretty unique, and it looks really cool too. So
I don't remember.
I don't remember. It's been so long.
it's been a long time.
It seems to me like it was a gradual process. Like you
Oh,
started
it was.
wearing-
That's why I can't really
yeah.
recall when that happened. But you know,
We wanted a more uniform look, but something that looked
Yeah.
dark, but something that
nothing, nothing outlandish. We just wanted
Yeah.
something very simple. And I think
Just
the cool
something-
thing is it
yeah.
just, we get into that mode, we put on those suits, and then, all hell breaks loose, and it's great for being on tour too, because you put on your super team action suit, you do your thing, and then, you take it off when you're off the stage, so you don't have to mess up your clothes, so it works
Right,
out
right.
pretty good.
say it's like the fans get the inside.
That's right.
Those are not our stage clothes, they're super team
But you
action suits.
You have to put those suits on when you're writing the riffs too. Like, do you feel the metal? Like
Yes.
at practice, you're like, fuck, I can't come up with anything.
I'm
put
like,
on
I
my
gotta sit
action
down, let me
suit.
get my suit on.
Bob's like, yeah, I got to change. I got to go in
That's a
there.
great idea.
I get dressed up for this.
Yeah, but I mean, it is kind of cool because it harkens back to the day when you would see bands and, they would wear leather and spikes. And even I'm so old that like even bands like Metallica were wearing spandex back in the day.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, it's kind of cool to see, like, it's almost like you said, it's like a uniform kind of, it's like,
Yeah.
and if Johnny
I think
Cash,
it's-
hey, it's always good. So
Russ is just kind of like, it's uniform, and it's like just a professional way of,
The other
presenting
band
themselves,
that I
guess,
can think of that does dress similar to that is Moonspell. Always, it's just all in their black with button-down shirts and stuff. Very much.
What's
in that style too.
the black metal band from Italy that does it too? They dressed up in like tuxedos when they played.
Flesh Got a Pox.
Flesh got
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, those guys are. I mean, even more dressed up than it.
Yeah, a little bit more.
They're a little more well-dressed than we
are.
Right.
This thing's, I
Little
think
more-
Steve though should wear like a tie or something live, kind of like Cheap Trick or something,
Yeah. More
Like tie,
ruffled.
top hat.
Yeah.
Instead of drumsticks, I have like two canes, like magician wands or something. Like
Cape.
I guess I could.
Yeah.
I could mention a couple albums that I picked out just to talk about. None of these are like my favorites. I guess if everybody's done for a second, I'll just do that, and we'll go back to some chatting again. But at number 3, I kind of had like a tie, and I don't know. I was like, I want to add them all, but one of the albums I listened to a lot from you was Harnessing Ruin.
Oh, cool.
And I used to listen to that back when I used to go to the gym. I ain't been there in a year because of COVID, and I need to go back. But that like Harnessing Ruin album, I used to listen to that all the time and lifting weights, and I thought it was just great. I mean, starting out with Swarm of Terror, and I just love that song, Our Savior Sleeps.
Yeah,
and
we
then
like that
the
one.
title track, Harnessing Ruin too. It's just so solid. I think I love that album from that time period.
We keep a Swarm of Terror is like always in our set because we love to play
Yeah.
that song. It's such a good song to play live. Yeah, it's a fun song. We all enjoy playing it. It always goes over well. And that's that's a different album. It's a very different album than any of our albums.
That's the first song you wrote on that one, isn't it, Bob? Wasn't that the first one you wrote? I think so.
Possibly. I
Possibly.
honestly don't remember.
Yeah.
I
But,
figured everybody was going to kind of talk about the first couple, which are great, of course, and the ones that were celebrating the anniversaries. And The other one that I kind of had locked in was Close to World Below, which I do have the album cover. It's a prop here.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Nice.
And
There it is.
Oh, you got the shirt on
Oh,
over there.
shit.
Nah, nice.
Nice.
Oh.
whoa, we got a double here, trifecta,
Nice.
a double level. Somebody else got the shirt, or we can do a triple. You got the white ringer version of it. Yeah. So, of course, Higher Coward.
Yeah.
Another one you guys played a lot, and I mean, Father, You're Not a Father. I just love that song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we
a,
do
it's
that
a
one a
fun
lot.
one too. We
Yeah,
play
it
that
is.
one a lot.
Yeah.
People like that one. I think it's a very catchy song. It's heavy and dark, but it's very catchy.
Put
Yeah.
My Hand in the Fire, Close to World Below. I mean, that's the whole album. I mean, you can't really just pick songs. All the songs are great. And
Fall from a High Place. Love that song.
yeah.
I like that one.
We haven't played that
Bring that in the
in a
set.
while. Damn.
Next
Then we
tour.
got this little ditty here that came out, which I think is.
Oh, yeah.
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 Mhm.
That was our first with Nuclear Blast.
Yep.
Was it?
Yep. Yep. That
And
was
of
our
course, The Purge, that starts it off.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know,
That's a
the
fun
self-
one to play. That's a pissed one to play live.
Yeah.
We like to play
Yeah.
that one.
and then of course, the song Majesty and Decay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
another one like Father. People like that one. I think.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's hard to
Those
play
are-
live and not play that one, I think.
Yeah.
It's
It
hard
is.
to leave that one off the list.
Yeah, the list gets harder with every
Yeah,
album.
we
that's for
struggle,
sure.
man.
The live show list is, man, the set lists are the hardest. I'm sure John can relate to that. Where
I
it's like,
tell you, man.
every year that goes by, making a
What do
set
you-
list.
yeah, what do you
becomes
play?
harder and
Well, you
harder.
got somebody to pick from, right? Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. It is really tough.
Yeah,
Agora-
it's like my least favorite thing.
Yeah.
Track number 7, which ends up the first side of the vinyl, A Glorious Epoch.
Yep.
Am I pronouncing that correctly? I love
That-
that's
Steve's,
another one.
Steve's favorite too. on that.
Bob's favorite.
Isn't it his favorite?
We got a bus boy.
I'm gonna mention the whole album, I guess. A Thunderous Consequence too.
I missed that song.
Yeah, you know, that was the first song we heard when we were mixing that album.
That I think was the first song written for that album. I'm
That
pretty
was the
sure.
first song written for that album, but that was also the first song we got back from Zach Oren, who we had that was the first album we used him to
Yeah,
do the
for
mixing
the-
and mastering.
Yep.
First time we ventured outside of Paul Orfino doing the mix. So we recorded it with Paul, but this is our first time with Zach, and
Okay.
we were very curious to see what he was gonna throw back to us. And when we got that song, it wasn't quite finished, but we were like, wow.
Yeah.
So this is this is a whole new level for us here.
Yeah, it was
So-
having that more modernized production definitely
so it
helped
was
tremendously.
very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very cool.
And I wanted to mention the Rapture of Ghosts.
Oh yeah, we never played that one live.
Never
Never
live.
talked
See,
about
we
it
got
exactly.
we got one there.
Didn't get that far.
I love the intro for that, man. Bob fucking killed it.
Yeah.
I love that, man. It's so creepy.
That's sweet.
And
Oh
like
yeah,
one of
and
my
Steve does a
favorite
lot of those
albums-
weird drum things in
Yeah,
there too,
yeah.
which is cool.
One of my favorite albums from you guys is your newest album.
I like
I
that
just-
one.
I
That's
just
my
love
favorite.
this record. And
Just to cut in real quick, I remember when I first heard that album, I had to send some text to Bob. I'm like, "What the hell is your problem?"
You
like-
said that to me in
Yeah.
Toronto, remember?
What are you
Yeah.
doing?
I'm like, where does that come from? I'm like, how? Like, I'm listening to it. Like, what planet is this guy on? Like, I don't even know you anymore. It was really. I just remember listening to it, being like, holy crap! Some of those riffs are just so out there. It's killer, but they're crazy. It's crazy how
I
you
love
even
it.
come up with that
It's
stuff.
weird.
It's
It doesn't
really.
feel that crazy. I mean, ask Alex. It doesn't feel like crazy.
Well, Alex
I
tells
know,
me
I
it's
know.
like, oh, it's so easy to play the Immolation
Yeah.
stuff compared to the Incant stuff.
That's
I'm-
the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
It
for me it
sounds-
is.
It sounds a lot worse than it is.
Yeah.
I'm not like
Yeah.
I
But-
tell you,
But I'm just saying that the riffs were really over the top. I mean, in a great way. I was just blown away because you think, I can't help it when I listen to music. I listen to the riffs and kind of structures, and I'm just like, wow, that is freaking crazy, But it's great. It's so
Yeah.
great to see that freshness in the music. But anyway, you can go on. I just wanted to.
that's good. That's what we're all
Oh,
sitting
we're
around.
glad you like it.
Uh, I mean, it starts out with the crushing, distorting light.
Yeah.
Fucking love that song. And
I
When the Jackals Come, of course, you did a video for that.
I like that one.
And the song that I send around to a ton of people from this album that don't even like death metal, and they talk about the current situation or even the current situation a couple of years ago.
I know which one you're going to say.
I know where you're going.
Fostering the divide.
Yep.
It's funny
like
because
everything that's going on in our country and around the world right now, you guys were like Nostradamus with this, and you knew. I mean, you've been talking about this subject for years, but
yeah, it's
and I
creepy.
love
Like
that it's a lyric video for guys that don't listen to death metal. It's like you can look at everything, and I sense some people that are like arguing over whether I like this president or that president. I'm like, just listen to this.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
yeah, this. I mean, it's
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Bad,
you
but
know?
true.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy how like when we wrote that, like a lot of that stuff like applies even more and is more relevant right now. You know,
Oh, it's
So-
very relevant. It's like, what the
So-
fuck? And it's not just here. It's like Brazil. It's in other countries too, you know?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like, well, my guy's tougher than your guy, and I hate you because
you
of
know-
it. And it's just everything's falling into place.
Yeah,
that
and
they
it's
want.
not even like political in any way. It's just it's
No.
just a commentary on where we are as a species, and really, and if you just
Yeah.
look around, every song on that touches on different elements and
Yeah.
how much we failed in our existence.
I mean,
no other way to put it.
and like
I
the
mean,
lyrics,
with the
We're
amount
really
of
winning
time-
at failing.
Yeah, we are. I mean, with the amount of time we've been here, we just can't get it right. I mean, we same mistakes we keep repeating. I mean, we're doomed for failure. So that's the point.
I mean, look, isolate us from
I'm
one
so
another.
optimistic.
We're doing that right now, right? Contempt for the unknown, hatred tears us apart, foster the great divide, unsettling the masses,
Yep.
igniting the flames of hate. We've seen all this, all of it in the last year,
Yeah. Well, you could almost see it coming back then. It was
Yeah, you
almost like
could. You
we
could,
tapped
and-
into it.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot of scrutiny to see the direction
No.
we were going even then, even before that. I mean, but so anyway, regardless, it's I'm glad because a lot of people have pointed that out to us more recently. Like, wow, it's almost prophetic. The kind
I've
of
shared it a bunch of times in the last year. I
Yeah.
think I even shared it a couple of days ago, and I'm sure Alex saw it because he sees all my Instagram and stuff posts. Yeah. But
No, that's cool. Thanks. I'm
I
glad you
just
brought that
think
up.
Yeah.
I just think that you guys have stood the test of time, and to put out an album like this, to me, that's just one of the strongest ones in my mind you've ever done. It just,
Thank you.
it speaks volumes. And, as I go back, that you guys support the scene and everything else. And I'm so happy that you guys took the time to come out in the channel. And I'm so glad that John set it up. And, I got two of probably my favorite death metal bands in this room tonight. And in my room, I got imagination. So as far as I'm concerned, we're all hanging out in the same room talking. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Hey,
great.
We
Yeah.
put
You've
out
been
a
supporting the scene
bonfire,
all
we're
these
just
years,
gonna
so,
sit and
yeah.
talk about music all night. What's your favorite bands and blah blah blah.
Hey, but you're a lifer like we are, Steve.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Yeah.
go ahead.
and I told Bob, I told the other guys, I mean, I've been looking forward to this video chat
cool.
like since we knew it was gonna happen. Bob's like, hey, you want to do an interview with John and the other guys will be on? I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, So
Yeah.
I've
I
been,
know.
like, geared
John's
up for
coming
this.
with great episodes. He'll like hit me up and like, yeah, let's do that one.
so yeah, it's been cool to watch, all the
Mhm.
stuff you guys have done up to this point, and
Mhm.
and we've all been excited, really
If
excited.
you've
to
watched
do
a
this.
couple of mine, I guess I've got a question for everybody in the room except for John because he's already asked. And it's a question I ask everybody. What was an album that changed your life growing up that made you want to like do this kind of metal? And maybe also, and after that, I'll have another question that I just kind of run, and I think it's kind of interesting for the viewers too. Maybe we'll start off with Ross if he's ready. If I want somebody else to go first, an album or even say a band,
It's hard to pick an album because at that
Okay.
time, I came out of like the Maiden, Judas Priest era,
Sure.
and things were starting to get heavier. So I was, I'm getting into Metallica, Kill
Mhm.
'Em All and Anthrax, Fistful of Metal,
Yeah.
the earlier thrash stuff at that time. And I think probably when like Ride the Lightning came out. When I first heard that, I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit, you know, that album.
When
was
you heard
like-
Fight Fire with Fire, you were just
Yeah,
like,
man, that
what's
was-
going on? And that's true, because back
Yeah.
then, that was just like, what the hell is that? You know,
yeah,
and
I mean,
Yeah,
it was great.
it was something that was like next level stuff, you know. And I remember buying that album when I saw it coming home, and my stereo wasn't as cool as my aunt's stereo. My aunt lived down the street from me, so I went there after school. I took the bus home and I had the vinyl. I went to the record store. I came to her house. I said, hey, you mind if I check this vinyl out on your stereo with your headphones? She's like, yeah, go ahead. And I remember just sitting there in her bedroom on the floor, listening to Ride the Lightning with the headphones, reading the lyrics, and just fucking getting lost in that and being like, wow, man, I've never
Yeah.
heard anything like this.
Mhm.
And then it was just gradual from there, you know. And then the next
yeah.
stuff I discovered was like Venom. You know, when I first heard Venom, like Will from Mortician and I discovered Venom. Like that was it, man. Like I hand painted black metal on my denim jacket. You know, Will hand painted it. People thought we were a gang in Yonkers because we all had black metal hand painted on our jackets. You know, I was like obsessed with that. Like they were not Metallica. They were heavy and darker in a different way, you know. And
Yeah.
even though I love Metallica, Venom was like raw, more
Raunchier,
raw, and
yeah.
just
Yeah.
darker, and they had this mystique about them, you know. When you saw like the photos on the back of the records, you're like, man, these guys must be like fucking out of their minds. This is awesome, you know. It's so sick for a 15-year-old kid, you know. It was like next level shit, you know. And then from there was just like I just started discovering more stuff, like
Yeah,
early Voivod,
Destruction,
yeah.
Possess,
and,
you know.
Merciful Fate. I mean,
Yeah.
it's endless, so it's very hard to
Yeah.
pinpoint one. But if I had to say one album, I'd say Ride the Lightning may have been that album. You know,
Okay.
but, you know,
Yeah.
so many, dude. Like,
There's so
Possessed,
many.
Dark Angel. I mean, you know,
I know, yeah.
I feel
It's hard
bad
to
even
pick,
mentioning
I put you
bands
on the
because-
spot with that one.
no, but there's so many bands like I want to
Of course.
mention that are part of that. You know, I just
Yeah, yeah, it's endless because you know
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
natural progression, which I think it is for most of us. You know, you
If
listen.
you don't, yeah, I just wanted to bring up, like, I was just doing another interview recently, and I was kind of explaining that, like, these things, it's like a puzzle, you know. It's like all these different bands and all these different influences have kind of a part of that puzzle of make the whole
Yes.
thing. So it's really difficult to point out one
It
person.
is.
Like when people try to say that there's one person that did this or did that, it's no,
No.
they're one piece of the puzzle, and it might be an important piece, but without all those other pieces, it doesn't put that whole thing together. You
And
know?
that's a great analogy
Yeah, it
because
is.
that's how it
Yeah.
is. Because it's very hard to, like you said. Yeah. Well, yeah. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't be into this without having Black
I
Sabbath
know.
as part of your
Yeah.
history. So you know,
question
I
I
don't
just
think we
bring
even
up.
need to mention them because it's a
Yeah.
given. That's
No,
like
yeah.
that's a given.
So,
You know.
yeah, all the
Just like I mentioned Maiden, but Maiden was like that's
Maiden
a-
was like we were like so into Maiden, it was
Yeah.
ridiculous. I was
Like
like a Maiden.
Steve
Sure.
Harris is why I'm playing
Yeah,
Maiden.
I thought
you know
it was
what I'm
Bob
saying?
Murray at first.
Yeah, totally.
Bob Murray.
Murray.
Absolutely.
At the Strat.
I was absolutely. I had the same. I
Same
got.
guitar.
I love
everything.
Dave Murray.
Same
I-
look.
Totally. And back then, if you know, if you look at a couple of old pictures of me, I almost look like Dave Murray.
Totally.
Back then.
Yeah, yes.
But I got the same guitar,
Hey.
and they were like my, you know, I was like a super fan Maiden back then.
And he
you
could
know.
draw some mean eddies.
And yeah, I mean, between them, Metallica, and then Priest, and then you know, it's just everything kind of like John said,
Yeah.
it all just kind of comes together.
yeah, it's like a foundation you just keep adding to,
Yeah,
and like here we
everything's
are.
you know either an influence or an inspiration.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you just build on it.
Cool. What about you, Steve?
For me, I was just thinking about it as you guys were talking, and I know that's gonna sound weird, but for me, when I was really young, the thing that tipped me over into like heavy music, which for some reason for me is the clearest one to see, because once I got into heavy music, you know, like they said, it's all stages, it's all evolution, it's a gradual thing. When I heard my older cousin played for me, and at the same day, like back to back, he played me Kiss, which I had like seen pictures and posters of Kiss, and you know, I had this preconceived idea what that band was going to sound like, and then he played me Def Leppard, and in the same day, and I was just like, I didn't like the Kiss, but the Def Leppard, I was like, that's sweet, and that just tipped me over. Like I forgot about all this other stuff that I had been listening to, the radio crap up until that point, and that just started. That took me down the path of metal, and obviously it went way darker than Def Leppard.
Yeah.
But I got to give credit where credit's due. That was the one that
Oh
tipped me
yeah.
over.
Well,
hey.
even like Van Halen, like, you know, getting into Van Halen and
Oh,
Zeppelin
yeah.
back in the
Yeah,
day,
of
you know, like,
course.
it all started from back then.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you want to
Yeah.
go back even earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
What album was that for you, Steve, for the Def Leppard?
High and Dry.
High and Dry. Okay.
Yeah, their
Yeah,
best
yeah.
Good
record.
album.
Good one.
That was
Yeah.
great. And when Pyromania
Great
came
album.
out, I really liked
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Classic.
yeah. I mean,
I agree.
it's not the coolest things to
No,
say,
it's
but
great.
when I think
love
about
it.
it, when I
You're
was
telling
young,
us the
you know what I
truth,
mean?
though. You know,
At
look
that
at
time
him.
was the Pyromania
That was a
though,
big
was a heavy
inspiration on me,
album.
that record.
Oh
You
yeah.
hear
What
that?
about
Yeah.
look?
That
Even
guitar
Motley Crue, Shout at
still
the Devil
is.
for crying out
Yes.
loud.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Devil.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was a
I-
heavy record.
I,
They were heavy.
I thought
yeah. Promoting the devil. is still
was
there.
it Out of the Cellar? I like too.
Yeah, I
Alex
remember
Chapman.
that. Yeah.
Great
I
album.
thought that album was great.
I had that
Fuck
record.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually really like Warren DeMartini a lot.
Oh yeah.
He's a great guitar
I
player.
mean, he's a really good guitarist. Out of all the
Sick
guys,
guitar player.
him and Lynch were the two best, I think.
So what about
I
you?
agree.
What about you, Alex? I think we've asked you this question already when we interviewed you one-on-one, but I guess we can ask again if you remember.
I think you said like, was there in particular record or band?
Record, or I guess
Yeah.
it could be a band that changed. You know, I got you into
Well,
this, or got
I mean,
into the heavier stuff.
For me, it was rock and roll. It was actually, my father told me the story that he reminded me about recently, and
Okay.
it was Who. And I was, my dad was into the Beatles and Hendrix and the Who and the Doors, all this great music. So
Yep.
my introduction in the rock, the Stones. So, but the Who in particular, it was Pete Townshend's guitar tone. He had this like really aggressive guitar tone, and that's what that was between him and Jimi Hendrix. I heard that guitar sound,
Yeah.
immediately attracted to that. So my dad got me because I would sit and like study the records, like 4 or 5 years old, studying these albums.
Yeah.
I knew all the names of the guys in the band. I knew who wrote the songs, all that kind of stuff. And he got me it was like a toy guitar. So I would do like concerts and stand on my toy box and do
Cool.
like the Who live at Leeds or whatever, like playing on that. But I knew, back then that I wanted to be in a band. But I think what made me want to be in a band was I got Judas Priest Unleashed in the East.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that record I probably listened to probably more than most records. And it was just the whole thing, how aggressive the songs were on.
Fucking
And
great album.
particularly some of the best
Slider
Judas
on
Priest
that
songs are on
rules.
that record.
Absolutely.
And also the way they looked. I saw the way they looked with the spikes and the leather and all. And KK Downing had the Flying V, and that was like Flying V. I need to play. That is the most badass guitar I ever saw in my life. And and it was the same thing with like Bob was saying about Dave Murray. He was another guy too,
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, it's like John was saying, it's a big puzzle. There's so much stuff.
Yeah. But that
Impression
Unleashed in the
too,
East
of
is a
like-
great choice. One of
Yeah,
my
rock
stepping
to
stones.
hard rock in the 70s, because I had 2 uncles that were into all kinds of cool music, and that I got
Yeah.
exposed to, like UFO, Rainbow. Like I remember hearing
Oh.
Virgin Killer by Scorpions,
Oh yeah.
and all this hard rock stuff. And then obviously I found Iron Maiden, Judas Priest on my own.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just but I think it kind of goes back to when I was a kid, and with the toy guitar, so as corny as it is, it was just like, this is what I
we
want
got
to
to
do.
find a video of this one.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, my first guitar was a
Alex
tennis
Oaks
racket or a
live.
bat.
Oh yeah.
I had one of them too.
Mine was air.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
What was yours, Steve?
Mine was air.
Air guitar.
Air guitar.
Oh yeah. Still play it from time today.
Never goes out of tune. Easy to
Never.
maintain. Easy
Nope.
to travel
Always
with.
play perfect.
Yep.
That's just something I always ask everybody. It's kind of interesting to see some of the influences and whatnot.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the same stuff that influenced Alex is basically what influenced me, was playing, hearing Jethro Tull Aqualung when I was a
Oh,
little,
yeah.
that was the stuff
Classic.
Yeah,
I
that's a
listened
cool.
to.
cool record
And then
too.
like hearing like Pat Travers and even like Heart on the radio, hearing those
Yeah.
great leads, and it just made you want to play.
Travis,
Yeah, a little
man.
dive
Yeah.
bomb in the beginning of was it Barracuda or whatever. That was pretty.
Barracuda.
sick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Barracuda
you
was
know?
fucking heavy. I mean, that
Heavy
was a
stuff
heavy
at the time.
song.
Her
back
voice
then.
was on
Oh,
fire
shit.
on that song, man. The whole record, man, it was great.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good.
I seen
Really.
Ann Wilson a few years ago with Jeff Beck, and
Oh, wow.
she was phenomenal.
Wow.
I
That's a
had
good
front
one.
row seats, and you know, you see these guys play. It's like that's the real deal up there. You
Beck
know?
is crazy, bro.
They were just fucking amazing. I mean, Jeff Beck came out. He was like, 76, whatever the fuck. He just came
Yeah.
out and just totally fucking destroyed.
Fucking
And I'm just
Beckola.
like, what the fuck,
No
So,
pick.
that's
I'm an
inspiration
old
in
man,
itself
so
to see
I'm
those
on
guys
I'm
out
that
there doing it.
generation before most everybody in this panel tonight, and yeah, I grew up, of course, with the classic rock.
Yeah.
First album I listened to, it was rock. I mean, I was a radio guy, and I was an R&B guy when I was a kid. I listened to AM radio back then, and I listened to a lot of soul, like Soul Train stuff, and that was the crew I ran with back then. So then one of my best friends that was dating, his sister was dating this guy. He was making fun of me. What are you listening to that shit for? Here, gave me a couple 8-tracks, and it was Alice Cooper, School's Out, and it was Black Sabbath,
yeah.
Paranoid, and that was it for me. I
Classic.
started
All those
listening to
early
the band.
records.
I mean, I still love my soul and shit like that, but still, yeah.
That heart thing, that reminds me, wasn't that the heart bass drum we had on Close to World Below?
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah.
We had the heart, the bass drum sample for
One of the hard albums.
one of the hard albums. We ended up using the sample for that on Close to World Below to
Oh wow!
help for the kick.
Wow. Great.
True story.
That's like really good trivia right there, right?
Yeah,
Who's gonna know that?
you would never
Give
know
us money,
that.
that
No.
song. What about
There's a lot
You
of-
would never
a lot
pick
of
that
little-
one.
Immolation Easter eggs.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I guess what were some of your favorite gigs that you played, like in festivals or stuff like that? If anything picks up, I don't know.
Wow, there's so many good ones. Wow.
Another hard one I threw at you.
This is
There's so many of them, right?
yeah.
Craziest was the Ukraine, dude. I'm sorry, but that was just the craziest shit
That was that
ever.
Is that
Ever.
one you guys were talking about?
Red Alert
earlier?
Festival, I
Red
think it was
Oh
called.
my god.
yeah.
Yep. Red Alert. Can't remember what year that was though. 07? 07?
Yeah, it was around
Something
that
like
time.
Yeah, 07, I think.
We
What was crazy about that?
the show was good. We played all the way south.
Was that Ukraine you're talking about?
Yeah. We played south right on the Black Sea in Sevastopol. So all the way down. So we were driving, we had a friend with us from France, Pascal, who was driving the van for us, and he was tour managing. And we were in a van, the four of us with him. And
We started in France, right? We went France through Poland. Yeah.
and we drove through Poland, crossed the border in Poland into the Ukraine, and drove about
A day,
20
24
hours
hours to get there.
through the Ukraine to get down to Sevastopol. Which, later on, like the fans were like, "Oh, you probably should not have done that."
I know. The funny thing is, Vader played that festival too, and obviously they're from Poland. And they got there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, our flight was delayed, so we're a little late." And they're like, "We're like, oh, you guys flew in?" They're like, "Yeah, why? Did you drive in?" And we're like, "Yeah." And then Peter's just like, "Oh, you took a great risk."
That is a little concerned. We had already driven halfway through. We're like,
I know.
it's like, "Oh,
We
you
got to
guys took
drive
a great
back.
risk."
It's like we still got to drive back, So it's so funny that the band from Poland flew in, and we're the ones that drove in, So,
I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was a very unique experience because we
Yeah.
had never been like in that part of the world, so it
Dude.
was very unique to me.
Yeah, you're in a country where there's like no way to communicate language wise. The language barrier is concrete.
Yep.
The just their alphabet is completely different. So we didn't know what to make of the maps or anything.
Oh,
It was,
man.
it was
Yeah, 'cause
nuts.
remember Pascal had
Totally.
he had a French map of the Ukraine, so he had to stop at a gas station and get a Ukrainian one just so the
What's it,
the
Cyrillic,
cities.
the Cyrillic language, or
Yeah.
whatever.
So the
Yeah.
words that you were looking at for the cities would match up to what you're seeing on the signs. Otherwise, you were lost. So
Yeah.
The funny thing
Oh,
was, he had a GPS, and this is classic.
yeah.
You're driving, you're watching the dot on the GPS, and you're like street, street, street. And then when we crossed the border, there was nothing. It was like a green space, and it's just the dot in the middle of nothing. That was the GPS signal
I
in the
remember
Ukraine.
those. Yeah.
So we had to get a map. We had
Yeah.
no way to figure out where the hell we were. So
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, it was a unique experience.
Yeah, sounds it.
The fans were awesome. I mean,
Amazing.
at the end of the day, it was a really cool trip and a great experience. The fest was awesome. Just really cool experience, man. Just to be in that part of the world for the first time and have such a great experience. So.
Yeah.
There's so many experiences and you know, crazy shows. And it's like there's one actually show that I just thought about in particular for me. It was actually with Incantation. And I don't know if you remember this, John, but it might have been, it was either Spain or France. And there was it was just so much insanity going on at the show where the guys up front were breaking bottles on each other. They were stabbing each other and they were loving it with the bottles. And then there was like, I remember they were throwing the bottles up on stage. So you just see like blood and glass everywhere on the stage. And then I look over to the left of me and one of the opening bands, I think it was like an Italian band we were on tour with or something. And they were like probably like a Bylon band or something, opening band. And the guy was like screwing some chick on the side of the stage. And it was just bizarro. It was just total insanity. It was just like, I guess that was fucking metal, you know, that show. But, it's just like, you know, you got blood, glass everywhere. Guys are like in their glory. They're cutting themselves on stage. And I'm just like that, like, I don't want to get blood on from some random dude or whatever. But that show, I don't know if you know that show, John, but I don't remember if it was, it's for some reason, I think it was either Spain or France. But
I vaguely remember what you're talking about. And
what's that?
For some reason, I remember the dude from the band fucking the chick on side of stage.
Yeah, it was like great. It was like everybody like just like going to town on this girl.
Than the Kingston
guys are cutting themselves, and you know, it was like kind of being in Mexico a little bit, but it was in Europe. You know,
I can't remember where that was at. I totally.
So yeah, that's.
I forgot about that.
Sticks out as like just insanity, chaos going on.
Yeah,
if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of good like festival shows, like especially like, the last round we did in 2019.
Yeah, there was some really standout shows actually. What was it? There was, I think there was one of the Asia shows too. India. The second show we did in India.
India was
that one stands out to me.
That wasn't a festival. Like we played a festival.
It was a one-off show.
Yeah. But then we played a show. The same promoter who did the fest brought us over there.
Right. It wasn't a festival.
But that was a phenomenal show.
That show really sticks out. Like just the energy from the fans and all was just
insane. Was that the first time you guys played India?
It was the second time.
But only within a year. We did the festival and then the promoter invited us back when we went
so the crowds are crazy there? Like I don't hear much about India with the metal.
Great.
It was
people are great too.
It was like L'Amour circa 1986.
Yeah,
it was like
wow.
insanity.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
they were super excited, man.
Yeah, death metal is actually really popular in
what city? What city was that in India?
Bangalore.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
Right.
Yeah. We hit a lot of new places that we had never hit. All of Asia was new for us. Relatively new. We did the fest, like I said beforehand, but that was only a year before. So it was all kind of new. And these were areas, you know, we just weren't quite sure how it would be. We've never been there.
Dubai was. I was always a little nervous about Dubai.
Wow.
You know how we go over there.
I blanked out on stage on that one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
For about a minute or two. It's just like, where am I?
We lost Alex.
Still on the plane.
Yeah, that was
the one that's Steve got there 2 hours before the show and then left 2 hours after the show.
And I missed the flight too.
That was
when you were in Dubai. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. When you were in Dubai, were you playing on that stage that Kiss had over there for New Year's Eve?
What's that?
I said when you played Dubai, Kiss were just there on New Year's Eve. That's where they want to play their big gig. They had a huge stage with the fireworks. It's such a rich country. I can't even picture death metal going over there.
Hey, listen, we played it. It
Huge.
was actually in a nice hotel, and it was in there was a venue inside the hotel. So we
Wow.
The hotel was sweet, dude. It was all like marble and gold and shit.
Oh,
It was
I bet.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing better than having to go. It's like, all right, we got to go to the show now. It's like you're in your room and you just take the elevator down to the show. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was
Insane. Yeah.
and it was
We
crazy.
were just there pretty much for the day, you know, like Steve was just
Yeah.
there for literally a couple
yes.
hours.
Hours.
Yeah,
6
Steve's
hours
flight
or something.
got delayed and
know?
then changed to the following day, which luckily we had booked it the day before. So he
Wow.
got there literally like within an hour or two before
Yeah.
he had to play, and then we had to
Yeah.
leave like an hour after the show. So he was like shot,
Wow.
but you
Yeah.
know,
It was less. When I got to my hotel room, there's 40 minutes till
Living the
stage.
dream.
Yes,
Yeah.
I kind
Crazy.
of remember that. And the same shit happened with Brutal Assault.
yeah, brutal.
Steve
assault.
always gets like the
Yeah.
Yes.
short end
You
of
cut your fingers at brutal assault, I think.
So what was the
Cut your
crowd
hand
like
or some
there
shit,
for
too.
like a death metal show in Dubai? Is it, what was it like?
It was great. It was
Oh,
like a show
The
here.
fans were great.
Oh,
It was
wow.
a great time, yeah.
Yeah, it was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, kids from all over the Middle East flew in
Yeah.
for that show.
From Saudi
Oh,
Arabia,
wow.
from
Syria. Yeah. All over.
Iraq, there's a guy.
yeah.
All right. I mean, it was great, man.
China,
Fans were awesome.
and they
I
were
mean,
all super cool and
a
good
couple guys from
music.
China, I
We
think.
were hanging out with them half the
Yeah.
night. Like after the show, we're hanging out with everyone in the
Yeah,
lobby.
it was
you know,
cool,
so It was
man.
fun.
dudes from
Yeah.
Russia. Was a dude from Russia.
Russian.
with
Yeah, I was gonna say
Syria or
there's
whatever.
some
Yeah.
Russians.
Great.
Some amazing experiences for a band that just came from this area and to do like such interesting tours like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
it's
so
playing
lucky.
these like exotic kind of places where you wouldn't think with the metal,
exactly. It's a good world experience. I mean,
Yeah.
it gives you a good perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You step
Yeah.
Metal brings people together.
Yeah, it does, man. It
Sure,
really-
yeah. That's we were
And
saying.
we don't take it for granted because we'll be in the middle of like whatever Dubai or whatever, and before or after the show, we're just kind of like, wow, we're in Dubai now, isn't that strange?
Yeah.
We're
You're
still
not
not
in
like,
Philadelphia anymore.
we're still like, wow, this is pretty wild,
I think
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like the night before me and Steve started having a panic attack. Like, oh, we can't bring this with us. We can't bring that with us now.
Oh
Oh,
well.
they'll throw us in jail for this. Don't
Well,
bring-
every country has obviously different rules
Oh,
about
yeah.
whether you bring protein powder or this or that or vitamins or whatever. So who
yeah,
knows?
yeah.
You do
Just-
have to be careful.
Just to be clear, us 50 and late 40 somethings are not bringing anything illicit. We're bringing vitamins,
Yeah, exactly.
I
Protein
can't bring my
powder.
vitamin D3.
something to help our old asses.
The vitamins, yeah.
Our powders. You get on stage.
When Kiss played there, they had to change their set list because they couldn't say certain words in Dubai. I know that was a thing.
Really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
heard
yeah.
that with Metallica too. They had to like certain
There
songs
wasn't
they had to cut
certain
out.
words like I forget what exact ones they were. I rented it, and one of the local guys that lives in Middletown used to live in Middletown. Fran Stuber is actually Paul's guitar tech. But yeah, we're way off topic now. We're talking about Kiss again. It's my fault. It's my fault.
Kiss shows in
Let's just
Dubai.
talk
I'll be
about
like
Dubai.
Caffrey a
Yo,
little bit. I'll start
but these-
talking about my band and what we did in the studio, right? John?
Yeah, these are the best interviews though. When you just kind of just kind of.
It's I kind of explain it as a bunch of us just sitting around a fire or sitting around.
Yeah. Oh, it's true.
a
Yeah,
table,
it's,
a bar,
it's
you
cool,
know,
man. It's like
that.
a couple friends sitting together.
Sitting around a
Chit-chat.
hookah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
Around a hookah. There we go. In Dubai, in the Middle East.
Winning Dubai.
I've had a couple guys, been in the industry forever, did a couple of these shows, and they call me up and they say, like, Stevie, what the fuck are you doing? You can't do these 2-hour shows. Nobody can do these. I'm like, yeah, we're doing them. And it seems to be all,
Yeah, hey man.
Fuck it.
Whatever
Hey.
works.
Gotta live life on the edge,
That's right. That's right.
and what else we got better to do? We can't go do anything. We're stuck in our houses. We're talking about metal with some good friends, and it's just a great experience.
Totally.
I'll shut up now so you guys can talk. Whatever you want to start wrapping things up gradually, I guess.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll choose my favorite albums. It's really tough because, man, all of them are only so.
You're like they all suck, so I can't.
John, they're better than crap.
You're like,
better than crap.
You're like, especially that third one, man. That was a fucking rough one.
Yeah, I really that third one, yeah, Failures Forgot, that one really sucks because that one killed my freaking arm, So yeah, after that I had to get carpal tunnel surgery. No, but for real,
This one gave John carpal tunnel.
yeah, it's true. Yeah. I was actually really nervous after that. I remember I did our Infernal Storm album after that with like massive pain in my hand. I didn't want to get the surgery until after the album because I was like, I don't know if this is my last album if I can't freaking play, you know. But
Oh man.
but
You know when I had,
the
sorry to
feeling.
interrupt, John, but
Yeah, go ahead.
I had that same moment when we were in Mexico with you guys in Acid Bath. Remember that tour?
yeah.
And that
Oh,
Greyhound
wow.
bus?
Yeah.
That's when I first got my carpal tunnel, dude, and I could barely fucking play that
Yeah,
tour,
that
man.
sucked.
That was really, so I feel your pain.
Well,
That was a
Yeah,
rough. I
that
thought
was-
I
that
was
was-
not going to play anymore.
Yeah. So, but I mean, as far as I mean, top 3 albums, it is really tough to choose because I think to me, there's kind of like, I don't know, 3 eras of the band. There's kind of like the Dawn of Possession, Here and After. Then there's kind of Close to World Below up to like what Unholy Cultish area or Harness and Ruin kind of. And then to me, like after Majesty and Decay, it just seems like things kind of expanded with the band a lot with the sound. I mean, the production's got clearer, we'll say, but still,
Definitely.
really, you can really tell what some of the riffs were that were going on and stuff like that. I think some of the other albums before that, there was a lot of cool riffs going on, but for some reason, once Majesty and Decay on that album, you actually heard like all the crazy notes that you were doing. Because I remember when I was even playing on Close to the World Below, you'd show me these chords, and I'd be like, man, it doesn't sound like that at all on the album, And then, but now, on Majesty and Decay, it's like, oh, okay, it makes sense. You're doing that weird kind of chord there or something like that. So it's hard for me to say because I like I mean, Failures for God, even though it gave me carpal tunnel, I have a connection to those songs. I love playing those songs. I mean, it's so much fun doing those. I mean, was it Close to World? It was Failure for God was the one that I
Failures,
played
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I get confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, No Jesus, No Beast is such a good song, and I loved playing that one. I just that whole vibe on it. I mean, just the whole album was great to be able to play those songs, and of course it was great to play my favorites. I'll choose that, even though I like all the albums. And then when it comes to like the last 3, I think they're all really great. I mean, I was listening to those recently, and I'm like, I don't know which one's my favorite because they all are really damn cool. They're you know yeah, I don't really know. So I'll say Majesty and Decay, even though Kingdom and Conspiracy could easily be there too, and Atonement. So I don't know. And then I have to go obviously with Dawn of Possession just because the connection to those songs too are just all those songs. I remember when I first heard that album and I heard the Harris John production that you had and everything. It was just like the band just went up to even a higher level than it was before. I mean, I thought the demos were great. I loved hearing you guys live, but to me, that album just really brought the band to an amazing level, and it was just a magical time for, the underground too. So but it's really tough to say because honestly, all the albums have really great material on it. It's I mean, I would say production wise, maybe Close to World Below or Holy Kohler, not my favorite production wise, but I still think the riffs and the music's really good. But I really love the new album productions. Like I said, the Dawn of Possession and Here and After too. I mean, it's whatever. They're all good. They're all great albums. So whatever.
you can't pick just one.
Yeah, I can't pick. It's hard. It's hard to pick
Yeah.
with a discography like that. I mean, yeah, there's really no like lemons. It's not like someone's gonna put one on and be like, oh, that sucks. Dude. Let's turn it off. So
Because we're the lemons.
Yeah, you guys never did any new metal albums or techno or anything like that.
You're gonna hate the new one. No.
Yeah.
and the
Oh, no,
Providence
no.
EP is really good too. Actually, I
joke.
really like that. The EP that
You guys are
did,
gonna try to
2011.
do like a
Oh, Providence.
Yeah, the Providence.
Providence,
That's a
amazing.
great one. I mean, because that was
Really
like
good.
that
Oh,
was
yeah.
like different sounding a little bit,
Mhm.
but not like out of place at all. And I just thought the songs in that was a really good one too. That's one that
It
I-
was.
yeah, that's
Killer
so,
production on that one.
that's
Yeah.
also my favorite album.
That was our
That was
second.
that was a rush.
That's my favorite too.
I think it took you like a month
Right. We didn't have a long period of time because they were like,
No,
look,
that
we
was
gotta
quick.
get this EP going, and we're like, all right, and yeah, it was crazy, but yeah,
That's the one that was like, you guys, I thought was weird. You guys got sponsored by like Scion XP, and at the time I had just bought my XP, and I'm like, holy shit, they're sponsoring Immolation.
No way.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was the weirdest thing. I mean, it's awesome, but I
Yeah.
was like, what the hell's up with that?
Yeah.
That was that album, right? It was around that album. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that was
yeah.
probably
Yeah, we got hooked up with them when Majesty came out. One of the guys who worked for Cyan AV was a fan, and he reached out to us to do a show because
I
Cyan.
remember that.
Yeah, they did the
Remember
fest.
that was Webster Hall. That was in the little room downstairs,
Yep.
Yes.
and that was our first first time we connected with Cyan. It was in that capacity. They did the show for us because to promote these free shows, and that was awesome. So we did that, and that went really well. And then they approached us again to do, I think, the video after that, right? They wanted to do
right
the
for
video.
Glorious. Yep.
Yeah.
They funded the video for Glorious Epoch, which was awesome. And then they reached out to us a third time, I believe, to do the festival, which was out.
I remember that.
Was it San Bernardino or was it somewhere else? I was out in
That was
California.
Pomona or something. wasn't it?
Pomona, right.
Yeah.
And they did the Cyan Fest out there, which was killer. It was like
Yeah.
4 stages in this like 4 or 5 block area that was closed off. So it was only for the fans.
And a free festival too.
Free
for us.
festival.
It's awesome.
Dude,
Yeah.
it was epic. So we did
I was
that.
jealous. I wanted to go to that. It was a stacked lineup too, I think, right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Morbid Angel.
Obituary thing played that too,
Obituary,
right? Yeah.
Morbid Angel, a lot of bands. It was
Yeah.
sick. And then right after that, they reached out to us a 4th time and like, hey, we'd like to, if you guys are interested, we'd like to, do an EP with you guys. And with
It's amazing.
and then part of that deal was they did the EP with us. They gave us money to do a video for one of those songs, and they gave us tour sponsorship for the tour to promote that. So it was like an all-inclusive deal.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of stepped into it with that
Yeah.
one. We just got lucky with that
Yeah, it
one.
was
So
really
Did they
cool.
give you a car too, or their
they
tour bus?
offered.
They wanted to,
For
but we
that
were like, we
tour.
can't do it. They're like, hey, if we give you a couple
Yeah.
of cars, we're like, we
Yeah.
can't do it in a couple.
They're
of
like,
cars.
we can give you like
Gotta drive.
It's like, if you had a Scion stretch van, we'd be able to do it, but we couldn't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out. So,
I still got
Generous
an
to you,
XP,
bastard.
and
Yeah.
it
I mean,
kills me that they quit making those cars, but I got an XP and I love it, and I can move because of my pinball hobby and my business. I move pinballs in it. Steve knows, and it was just, and now I still have my one. It's got about 80,000 miles, but I love the Scions, and I mean it was great. You just don't usually have a car manufacturer having like Obituary and Morbid Angel and Immolation and on their
Pretty cool.
commercials.
it was a very unique thing that they
Yeah,
did.
it was.
And it
I'm
was
glad
really
we thought about that. And when John brought up Providence, I thought of that immediately. And sorry, John, I walked all over your spot.
I'm used to it. Don't worry. It's okay.
You're used to it. Do I do that a lot? That's how I put Jones on Mondays.
I know you're the boss. It's okay.
You're the boss tonight. You picked this episode.
I just
Tomorrow, when we're with Enforcer, you can be the boss again.
Oh, cool.
He's like, win.
He's like, win.
First
Gold star.
First prize. Yeah, that was a
So-
great thing, though. That was cool.
So that was cool, yeah. And that EP we did, that was our second time working with Zach from the West Coast. The first time was Majesty, and the EP was the second thing we did with him. And
Yeah.
it came out really good. But it came together quick, like
Yeah.
Bob and Steve said, man. It was like a month between the writing and just doing everything and getting in the studio, and we did it in like a week.
Yeah, it was,
It was crazy, but it came out good, so we're happy.
Yeah, it's great. Great release.
Really cool album cover on that too. I really like it as that whole like kind of World War II type of thing going on.
Yeah, there were a lot of songs on that one. Were inspired by that era.
Mhm.
That EP was free, right? Did you? I don't think I sold it. You used to get
They gave it
that,
away
like,
at
if you
the show, I
you'd go to a city show or something, and you'd see like people handing them out.
Yeah, they gave us a couple, like 1,000 of them to give out.
Yeah.
And we did. We just had them at the table. Take to whatever.
I remember I bringing them back to the store, and like customers going, "Where'd you get that? I want that."
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was cool. It was a really cool thing to do, man. I mean, they didn't as is typical with most labels, there was no payback on that. So they gave us the money and
Cool.
and they funded the project, and we own the rights to it, and that was it. They didn't want anything from it after that, you know. So
Can't go wrong with that.
it was a win-win
No.
deal for any artist. You got the benefit of the promotion, you got the financial backing, you know, and you got the blessing of the label. So
Yeah,
it
Nuclear
was,
Blast was totally behind it
yeah.
because they're like, yeah, this is a good thing, you know, definitely do it. So
and they were super cool with us. I mean, they were so easy. There was no restrictions on creatively what we could do, what we could say. It was, we had a lot of freedom, which was unexpected as well, which was good.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
remember when
bizarre,
Bob
it's a
called me about
bizarre
that.
story, and I don't know if any other, I don't think any other car dealers have ever done anything like that, or car manufacturers. No.
what were you saying, Steve?
I remember when you called me to explain that to me, like what was going on and what they were offering us, and I was just like flabbergasted. I was like, "What?" I was like, "All right, send
You're
us
like, so
songs
let me get
over."
this
You're like,
straight.
we got to get it together, kid.
Some big company's gonna give us a shit ton of money to do some EPs and shows
yeah.
and do a tour,
You're like,
and
what are you smoking?
and they don't want anything in return. Wait, what bizarre universe are you living in?
Yeah.
What's wrong with Bob? I think he's on something.
Yeah.
Hey, John, maybe you ought to call Cadillac when we get off the call and see if they want to do something with you guys.
Yeah, I'm down. I'll
Cadillac
tour
with
one of their
that
SUVs or
fantasy.
something.
Yeah,
That's right.
too fun.
Cool. Well, we should wrap this up. I guess we're going on 2 hours now. That's okay, you know.
Damn.
But,
Alan said, he's like, it might go 2 hours. I'm like, I don't know if it'll go 2 hours. It's like, it's 2 hours
I'll
already.
take-
yeah, I mean, there's so much more we could talk about. We'll just have to do something again.
We'll have to do a part 2 because this
Yeah.
is endless. It seems like we haven't even touched like
No.
the surface of like
Well,
the
let's do
stuff
a
I was
part
like
two.
expecting we were gonna talk about.
Yeah.
You know,
We talked
Yeah.
about Dubai.
Yeah. Hey.
Dubai.
We'll book a part 2, and we can just have John go 1-on-1, or he can even bring another guest star in the talk with you. You know, possibilities are endless.
Yeah, this was awesome. Yeah, like I said,
Yeah,
we were.
thanks for having us.
Thank you guys. We
Yeah,
were totally
thanks.
looking forward to this, and yeah, we could continue on for probably another 2 or 3 hours. Honestly.
So we'll
Oh,
do
yeah.
another 2 hours in a couple of weeks. We'll set up a date and
Yeah,
tune
I'm
into
down.
the same
Yeah, I
back
don't
channel.
I didn't even really start asking any questions. So
Yeah, I know. Because we went on
All
so
right,
many tangents.
before we wrap it up, then John, ask one last question. And I've
No,
got
it's
one
good.
last question before we go. Pineapple on pizza. This is from Alex originally a few episodes ago.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
We had pineapple on pizza back in the day. That was our, like, it was either pineapple and pizza and ice cream. That was our, that was our diet. Back
That was
then in the early
before
days.
Dawn of Possession came out.
Yeah.
That was like on the run up to Dawn of Possession. You
I
know?
remember those days.
Domino's. They
Pizza
used to-
fries and pizza
Dawn
sticks.
of Possession.
Dude,
was
you guys
built
ate
on
so much
pineapple
freaking pizza back
Oh,
then.
we were just
I
not right.
blew up like ridiculous. I had to go on a diet. They were like, "You gotta go on a diet before we take photos." For
We
records."
were,
It was brutal. Yeah.
literally.
I was living large.
All you guys were, really
So
getting
this is
out
the
of
first
line.
time we ever had a room that everybody agreed pineapple and pizza. Usually somebody.
I mean, it's not my first choice, but when you're in that mood,
It's on fire.
It's on fire.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
fine.
it was going to be a fail, but when I
Yeah.
had it, I was like, "Wow!"
we
this
tried.
is
We're like,
awesome.
let's get it, and then we got it. We're like, oh my god, this is amazing.
See, Robin, if you're listening somewhere, Robin, see, we all won tonight and you lost because
Why
Robin.
Robin doesn't like
Oh,
it?
she don't.
Now, Robin and Prika from Nervosa too. They're like, it's a crime, it's a crime.
Oh no trap! It's a win.
No, it's
it's a
good.
Look,
it's a
we're-
skyrocket. No
we're
funnel.
from New York, where pizza is, and
Yeah.
we appreciate it.
True.
And,
We're good.
and Ross used to have some good chicken cacciatore by his place too.
All right, John, your final question to wrap it up tonight.
Yeah, just I guess about the chicken cacciatore that you used to get around your house or whatever. I remember
My
when I was
mom
jam.
used to make that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm
she used
getting
to make
hungry.
that when bands were in town, like when Morbid Angel came up, she would make.
Is that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle guy? His place?
Oh no, that's the pizzeria around the corner. That's
Oh, okay.
Raceway Pizza. Yeah.
Yep.
He was in one of their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, but he's a good guy, Louis. Awesome dude, like the best. He's a good
Yeah,
guy.
I know. I remember when I was out there jam with you guys. Always got some great pizza. Oh, such good pizza.
A lot of
Yeah,
good places.
we're
around.
spoiled around. Well, down in Yonkers. That
Oh
whole-
yeah, right, Yonkers for sure.
When I'm up there, I have to get chicken parm though. I have to get my chicken parm fill.
Sure.
You know, in Yonkers.
I like the chicken
All right,
parm
chicken
pizza.
parm.
That's so good.
Well, I'd like to thank
You can't get
everyone
it
for
good around
tuning in
anywhere else.
tonight. And
Anyway,
anybody that's watching the episode, they're probably hungry now. They're going to go grab something
Yeah.
to eat.
more about food. than
That's
anything
right.
else.
Part two, we
That's
got
how it always
pineapple and
ends
chicken
with Immolation, dude.
Always get into
We
food.
haven't even gotten into the food
Yeah.
talk yet. We could have a whole episode
How
on
about ice cream?
Ice
we could have a
cream.
whole episode on Immo and food and desserts and
Yeah. Well,
We'll do it.
well,
Maybe
yeah.
we'll
I
do a
want to wait.
cooking.
One question. What's your favorite chocolate milk in Holland?
come on, kid. Chocomel, man.
I'm throwing you a softball.
We need,
Chocomel.
we need a
Yeah, that's
Chocomel
softball.
sponsorship.
First time we had it, what was the club? Scum Club, right?
Was it
Was
Scum
it Scum
Club?
Club?
It was our first tour in Holland, and I remember we I was just talking to Bob from Asphyx, Bob Backus from Asphyx. He came out to one of those shows on our first tour, and we were pen pals, and he was just so like he just got such a kick because we were drinking that like it was like a drug or
Oh,
something.
it
Like,
was
oh my
nuts.
god, it was like
Yeah.
crack addicts. We were outside the venue.
Literally, like on the tour, you'd have like three. You know, as you guys probably know, it's like you have like, okay, this is this band stuff, this is this band stuff, and this is this band stuff. So we'd have like we were like the opening bands with the one box of Chocomel. So like, so we'd walk in there, like after you get off the bus, you're like, you take that thing of Chocomel, put it on the bus for later on.
Yeah, it was-
and then we have like the four of us would get
Yeah.
together and just be like sucking
Yeah.
down Chocomel, having
Yeah.
Chocomel shots.
Cases of Chocomel.
yeah, we were like,
Well, I've never thought of immolation and chocolate milk before, John, so you've really opened my mind.
You have no idea, Steve.
It's good. It's good.
And then it's been a staple ever since.
you have not had chocolate milk until you had Chocomel.
That's
So.
right.
So
Endorsement.
everybody that's watching this, I want you to go over to the Immolation website tonight. When you get done watching, I want you to go buy some merch.
One of everything.
One of everything,
Yeah.
just like those guys.
Old
bought
school
the
Venom.
show in 1986. One of everything. Buy your friend a T-shirt. Get whatever they got for sale. All these bands, of course, even Incantation. Go buy some stuff from John.
And
They
go to
all-
Rock Fantasy as well.
Support
Because I know you
Yeah,
got a lot of
sure.
stuff on your website.
That's
So
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can come buy stuff from me too if you like.
absolutely.
Yeah. Support local record stores for sure. You know.
So
Yes.
please hit subscribe, and you'll know what crazy episodes we're gonna come up with next. And comment on your favorite moments of Immolation in the comments, and your favorite albums and whatever else. And we'll be back real soon. So fucking.
All right. Thanks,
Hey,
guys.
oh,
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Steve.
Thank you for having us,
Thanks,
man.
Steve.
Absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you.